We have successfully clapped.
I didn't hear any of them. All I heard was mine, so I'll believe you.
I
Also,
feel
wasn't
mine
looking
was
at the cameras.
first, so I like clapped and then everybody else went.
Shall we just start with happy birthday, Halcyon?
Shall we sing?
I'm not singing, if that's what you're asking.
Happy birthday to us.
you. There you go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 21st episode of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast, airing June 12th, 2022. If that was too sudden, it's fine. It was sudden for me, too. It's Halcyon's third birthday, I guess, technically, as of June 7th. So we're kind of making this a little bit of a celebration-ish episode. I'm hosting. I'm blind, as always, and I'm joined by a couple of friends, as per usual. So, FGsquared, how are you doing today?
Hi, I'm doing great. It's a lovely Friday. I'm ready for the weekend.
I know the feeling. Wa Jess is also here. How's your day been?
I love how you pronounce my name. It's early here. This is before I even start my stream, so I'm still waking up, working on it. But I'm also excited for the weekend. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
And also Kiri is here. Hello. How are you?
Hello. Hi.
The one person it's not super early in the day for. Well, actually, I guess FG, it's not super early in the day for.
Yeah, no, it's not early.
No, it's getting towards dinner time and pizza Friday time, I think. So, yeah.
Pizza pie day.
Pizza
I had
Friday.
pizza Thursday last time.
But that
thought you were
meant
gonna say
today was
last week.
also pizza day.
No, actually, it wasn't.
Oh, you ate it all.
Yeah.
I don't have a
Tactically-
dedicated food day for anything.
And
It's
we
like,
don't.
Is it sandwich day or is it not sandwich day?
We don't really have it either. But
Yeah.
whenever we have pizza on Friday, it's Pizza Friday, of course.
It's the lunch tray takes advantage of this. He's like, it's Friday, pizza day.
Actually, for us, it's mostly pizza. Well, it's tactically smarter to make it Pizza Tuesdays, because that's when there's a deal on pizzas, and they're already £8 cheaper in total. Like they're
That makes
£4
sense.
cheaper each. Yeah, and when like our restaurant does this weird like stamp collecting thing, so if you order 5 times, you then get like a ridiculous discount. So you can get like a giant pizza, and I really mean giant, like 20-inch pizza, for like £12. It's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculously cheap.
Sounds good.
I know that pounds is money, but I'm just imagining a 12-pound pizza. Just going,
That'd be
really
something.
big. That's a really big pizza.
That'd be a lot. So that would be $14.79 for US dollars, and it would be 19 Canadian dollars. But that would be for a 20-inch pizza. So that's like a pizza you can eat like 50 bajillion meals from.
That's like restaurant prices for a nicer pizza.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
20 inches. Like 20 inches is a lot of pizza.
It is. That's like a family pizza, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty
That's
much. Yeah.
Like a normal sized pizza here. Well,
That's an
maybe
American
large.
size pizza. That's like an extra large pizza here. Because like we have
Wow.
small,
Yeah.
it's like small, medium, large pizza, and then there's extra large pizza. That would be
And
like
It's a
trying to-
family pizza, yeah.
I'm envisioning it. Yeah, maybe this is extra large.
It
I
is
don't know.
extra large. It's big, but it lasts you for like forever, and it's great. And that price, and it's nice Italian pizza too.
the one
important.
place that I go out of my way to get pizza at, ironically, is a place I don't like that much. It's this local bar that's close to me, but like it's gone through a lot of different owners over the years. But the one thing that's stayed like consistently good about this place is the fact that they have a nice big fire oven and they make good pizzas. And like the only person who hasn't quit the entirety of the time that that place has changed hands is the kitchen staff. They've always stayed the same, even though they've like the front of house has like changed and all of the waiters have changed and all the bartenders have changed multiple times. And like the front management has changed and the ownership has changed. The kitchen staff is still the same and they have these 4 good pizzas, which are all really good.
Nice.
but they're a little expensive. Unless you go there on Tuesdays, because then they have all day happy hour, and it's like, yeah, do you want a $25 pizza for $10? Which is great. And you go in and get 3.
Yep.
Works really well.
That's good, yeah.
Now I want pizza. Thank you very much.
Well, you
I
had
want
pizza
breakfast. I haven't
yesterday.
eaten breakfast
I
yet.
know, but we're talking about pizza.
All right. How about instead of talking about pizza, because we have this note in the document, because it is Halcyon's 3rd birthday, we kind of have this, what's everybody's favorite team moment thing that we've done over the past, like, however long we individually have been part of the team. I think, like, 3 of us, it's like since the beginning pretty much, and then Jess, you came on about a year in-ish.
Yeah.
Wow,
I guess so,
you've been on the team for 2 years. But yeah, so like we kind of have like this note in the document, which we could kind of do like a little, I don't know, around the table thing. And then I guess like the structure of this podcast, we're going to go through games that we've been playing as per usual. And then we'll get into user submitted questions, which we've kind of done a ping around the Halcyonisphere asking for questions. So yeah, let's kind of just go around. Anybody want to start?
No,
Yeah.
I want to hear your answers.
But
So
but
Jess
you
wants to go
can't say
last.
what we have already said, right? So it's going to get more difficult for you then.
Oh, God.
Yeah, what if you? But
I go
I don't
first.
think you're. I don't think you're gonna say mine.
All right.
What if you do?
I
no,
was
it's
Maybe
just
the moment
kidding.
has sucked. So just kidding.
Here goes fast.
Okay, I can go first.
Okay.
So my favorite was when we did the RimWorld Hot Potato charity event in 2020. That was the first really. Do you want to say the same, Blind?
I was gonna say that's what I was gonna go for as well. But
There you go.
I got
I mean, of
a
course-
runner up, so it's fine.
Maybe you have a different reason for it. But that was the first time we really made it big. And I remember we all worked really hard on this and we spent so much time on it. And it was just amazing to see that coming together then as such a successful event. So that was my favorite.
That's a good favorite.
Should I go next?
Okay, I'm going. No, I'm going next,
Or
so you
Jess
can't
going
take it. just in case, right? So, this was also the same for me for similar reasons, but after, I'm pretty sure this was after the 2021. We were all, we were hanging out and decompressing and sort of debriefing on the hot potato, and we were discussing like, oh, Kiri really likes to cook, and I really like to bake, and Blind likes to clean. So one day we should all get together.
I
and be
remember
sure
that.
to bake and like have a dinner and stuff together, and that was fun.
Yeah. We still haven't done that.
No,
But I agree,
No.
we should. Yeah.
Being in the same room is difficult.
yeah, it was our like one day when the pandemic's over conversation.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that the
How can-
conversation that ended with us going, why don't we all just go to Japan?
Yeah.
Like, we all just kind of came to terms with the fact that Japan is, like, the least inconvenient place for us all to meet. And I think that that's still true.
In a weird way, yeah.
No matter, like it's a long flight for everybody, but it's like the most even amount of travel for everybody instead of, like, half of us having to fly over an ocean and half a continent.
It's also kind of a location, I think, where every one of us wants to go. So that works out quite well as well.
Mystery wants to go. So, yeah.
I don't fully understand the
care.
allure of Japan, I'll be honest.
Same.
It's like, okay, it's a country that has a unique language.
It's got skyscrapers and fast trains, so that's cool.
I've got skyscrapers and not fast trains.
Yeah, it's also cool.
I mean, I could talk about it, but it's very off topic. So
I
Let's go
I
with the
can-
next.
I'm gonna go with this. The 25th anniversary of Worms, which was my runner up. The actual thing that I was gonna go for is I was just gonna kind of tack on to the first big hot potato charity event that we ran when we put the team branding on it. Was really neat just because it was kind of a really shitty year, I guess. Like, it was just a crappy year all around. You know, 2020 was bad. And it was really nice to just kind of do something cool that felt nice, where a lot of money went to a good cause. And it was cool to just be involved with that. But my actual bid for the day or for favorite team moments of the last 3 years would probably be when we all stayed up all night. Well, for me, it was all night because we started at like 10 o'clock at night. But we ran a stream for on the Team 17 Twitch channel for Worms' 25th anniversary. It was a sponsored event, but it was just really neat to be able to like literally just put in a full workday overnight, taking over a pretty big publisher's Twitch channel and just stream their games all day. That was just fun. And it was kind of a unique kind of one-off thing, and I don't know if we'll ever get to do something like that again, so it was just a really neat kind of experience to go through.
It was really fun.
Agreed. Yeah. That was really good.
Also, Worms is great. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it felt just like, friends hanging out and then also getting paid while doing that, which was awesome. But it felt more like we're just having a nice just afternoon for us, probably. I don't remember. But just hanging out and playing games together while also getting paid was awesome.
Yeah, it was great. So yeah, if anybody would like us to play your games, on your channel,
we can chat about that.
Yeah, we're open. My favorite moment, of course, I'm now stuck with like having to come up with something like.
Were you also going to say the hot potato?
No, I was actually going to say the Worms events, I thought. But then I actually thought my favorite event, if I can't say any of those three things that have just been mentioned, literally the fact that we made the team and that we're like where we're at right now and that it's like a thing that has lasted for 3 years. That's a long time. I have seen many teams come and go in 3 years that don't exist anymore, and streamers that come and go like in 3 years. Like 3 years ago, the whole Twitch landscape was completely different compared to how it is nowadays, and we're still here, and Halcyon's still here, and it's a thing, and it's a bigger community, and people know each other, and they've known each other for that long, and they're playing together on servers, and it's like all the community coming together and just having fun together. That was my answer if I can't choose any of the other three.
I really do love seeing this whole big community with everybody. It's really awesome.
Agreed.
I think that the kind of fascinating anomaly of this team is that like you'll see teams pop up and you'll see groups pop up, right? Like, like there's that group of like really big World of Warcraft YouTubers and streamers right now that's like basically running their own convention, right? With like Asmongold and all them. There's like definitely teams of people doing things, but there's nobody really doing it in kind of the small, is it fair to call us small, but like kind of scrappy, but still big enough that people know who we are kind of way? Like, there's not a lot of people doing it in this way anymore. It's like there's either like people that are around our size, which are generally pretty solitary in this industry, and then there's the big guns. But there's not a lot of like, it's just kind of a bunch of smaller communities getting together and doing a little thing. And that's kind of what we've just been doing for the last 3 years. And the fact that, we're still at it is kind of just incredible.
Yeah, that's true.
I keep saying agreed, but yeah, I keep sitting here like nodding my head, and I'm like, no, I gotta verbalize it because people can't see me. So the agree, yes,
yes.
Affirmative.
There's a thing that might have been my favorite moment if I were there, because some of you met up during TwitchCon NA when it happened. That was 2019, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still sad I missed it.
Aww.
Because that might have been my favorite moment, because it's just, when you get a chance to meet people from all over the world, right? So that's just, I'm still bummed out that I missed that.
Now, not so often. 2019, 3 times a year, 4 times a year, maybe.
Yeah. But
so,
now...
like, I think, like, priorities were a bit different in 2019. Just in general.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, for me, it was a money issue, so I, couldn't afford it. But
yeah, priorities were different, and like the state of the world was different, and it's like
absolutely.
Like if you asked me in 2019 if I was going to go to TwitchCon EU 2020, I would have said yeah, because I was genuinely thinking about it, and then like some things have changed in my life where like traveling didn't make sense. But if the pandemic hadn't happened, I would have gone to 2021. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would have gone
same.
to TwitchCon 2021. I would have gone to PAX West and probably PAX East 2021. Like, my budgets would have stayed aligned in that way that, like, that would have stayed part of my schedule. But honestly, it's just been the wrench of just throwing, like, a pandemic into a fold of things where it's just like, well, there's, like, kind of... It doesn't make as much sense for me now because I've positioned my content in a way that I don't need that external networking.
Yeah.
It's no longer beneficial to me. So it's like the cost of that travel versus the gain that I get back doesn't seem as big anymore. So it's not as big of a priority as it was in 2019. So
But meeting us, that would be the greatest gain, wouldn't it?
totally. But I can talk to you once a week on a Discord call for
No,
free.
I understand.
Traveling's expensive. But
I might come to PAX East next year. So.
PAX East is possible. It depends on the state of the world.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
same here.
But like when it comes to traveling at this point, like I'm looking at TwitchCon EU and going like, yeah, that's much more. Like it's maybe $1,000 more expensive than going to PAX East for me. It's like maybe just do that. I'd like to go to Europe at some point.
Yeah. Well, I hope we can meet
I'd
up
like
at
to go
some
back.
point.
Yeah, or maybe Gamescom again when
Yeah.
if that happens. Maybe
I'm actually thinking about going this year. I'm almost convinced. I'm gonna look into tickets and stuff.
Where's that one?
That's in
Cologne,
Germany.
Having seen the mass amount of people that go there and the no space that exists on that convention on like general admission days.
Yeah. I don't know. Gamescom's one that's never interested me, like kind of at all.
I've never
Gamescom, I
been.
would go for the games. I would go for the games, not for like meeting other like content. Well, yes, also meeting other content creators, but it's mostly like just to go and test out the indie games that are there.
Totally, but like I can do that at PAX, and PAX is shorter, cheaper, and there's less
Yeah, of
people.
course, yeah, that's true.
Makes more sense to you. of
There's
course.
there's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
logical reason for me to go to one. If I want to play
Yeah.
indie games, I go to PAX West, and PAX West is like quarter of the people, almost all of the same games.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you have less
correct,
like Eurojank stuff, but that's kind of the only real difference. Like Farming Simulator is a small booth instead of a really big booth, if you understand. Because Germany's biggest esport has to have representation at Germany's biggest convention, right? I feel like I've kind of taken over
Eventually.
this podcast right now.
Eventually, we'll go to conventions all again eventually.
Yeah,
Conventionally.
Probably. Yes.
perfect.
Coin it.
We've been talking for almost 20 minutes. I think it's time for us to go to a real quick break here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the games that we've been playing over the past 2 weeks, I guess, because we skipped a week.
2 weeks.
Oh,
Yeah.
2 weeks? Then I should probably
Okay,
add some
I'm
games
glad-
to that list.
I'm glad we
yeah.
have a break
It's already
because
pretty
now I
long.
can think about this.
It's been 2 weeks for me, okay? It's just normal podcast. Let's go to a break.
Hey, Bell here. I wasn't here to discuss these sizzling topics this week, but if you wanna hear some more of me, you can find me any day at twitch.tv/Bellandar or in a future episode. Enjoy the rest of the podcast.
All right, everybody, we're back to Halcyon Frequency Podcast, episode 21 for June 12th, 2022. FG wants to know if you would like to know more.
I would
about the
always
best
want to know more about Starship Troopers Terran Command, which is not out yet, but it will be out soon. And I was among the creators who got an early look at the game.
Jealous.
Slytherin, the publishers. So this is not sponsored. This was not sponsored, but the publishers were like, here we give you a key. You can play the first 10 missions on stream. You can show it, and you can put it on YouTube and all that sort of stuff. Nothing beyond that, and you can just find out more about the game. So we could only show the campaign. That's in. There is also scenarios, but we couldn't show those, so I haven't played those at all. I've done the first 10 meows of the game. No, actually missions, I think it is. And it's great. I just really enjoyed it. I was hesitant, and I said this during the stream as well, because I played the demo during one of the Steam Next Fests, and it didn't feel good. It didn't feel right, like the RTS gameplay, and it didn't feel right. They nailed the tone of the movie, with their like little cutscene announcements in between, and you know, when you click on the wiki, it's like, would you like to know more? Yes, of course I want to know more about stuff. But there was just something about the game that just didn't feel good. The controls didn't feel good. The demo, but then I played it, and I played it for like an entire stream straight. Took me about 8 hours, and I didn't beat mission 10 at the end because I just couldn't get past it.
It was so difficult.
It was so difficult, yeah. So I said we're gonna do it again next week, but on a lower difficulty. I played on normal, but it's so good. The RTS feels good. Controls feel tight. The setting is good. The AI is a bit iffy, but they know that. They're still working on pathing.
They're big dumb bugs. It's fine.
Yeah. They're working a little bit on pathing, because the thing is, like, you have to micro your units a little bit, because certain units can shoot over certain units, like over their head, so to speak, but the riflemen can't shoot over another group of riflemen, so you have to like micro it a little bit, and that sometimes glitches a little bit out if you just run around with a big group of people. But I enjoyed it so much. It was so good.
Agreed.
Yes, perfect.
Sorry, I just
no.
I do agree though. Like, so I also got a key, and I played the first 10 missions also on normal, and the first 3 were super easy, and then with each mission the difficulty just ramps up, and it gets super difficult. The last mission, I don't know, I spent an hour on it, I think, and just reloaded and min-maxed it, and then I did it. But it was so difficult. But it's really fun. It has a couple bugs to the additional bugs that you have to kill, but it's super fun. I loved it.
What's the structure of this game? Is it just missions? Is there like any kind of map builder? Is there a map editor? Is there like a randomly generated mode? Like what is there to offer outside of like just the mission structure?
So the missions is the campaign with a story. So the story is, so for those who are familiar with the setting, it's after the failure at Klendatu, and you're on a different planet. You're a different division of mobile infantry. You're on a planet called Qualasha, if I recall correctly, and your job is to cleanse Qualasha from bugs. So it is like in the movie like setting, but it's like separate, so there's no interference in terms of lore or characters or anything like that you've seen anywhere else. And I don't know to the rest of your question, because there is scenarios, but I haven't looked at them, because the version that we have is not the full game. It is literally locked, like we can't play past mission 10.
Yeah, so we don't see what else is there.
Because that I think is my concern about this game, right? Because like I'm totally down for like a story-based campaign, but like it's a single-player RTS, and I like single-player RTSs, but there's the fact that it's a single-player RTS means like, all right, so content is immediately limited, right? Like what do you do after you finish the campaign? Is it just like a one playthrough kind of thing, which is fine, but I kind of want to know that. I kind of wish that they were talking about that more. Like, is there going to be a reason to replay the campaign when I finish the campaign, or is it just you do your one run through and then you're done? Because it doesn't even look like it has Steam achievements. Like it doesn't. It feels a bit one note, I guess, which is maybe fine. And like, oddly enough, like the most video gamey franchise of all time, Starship Troopers, has never had a good video game. So it's kind of like, to my knowledge, the best Starship Troopers game ever made is actually a StarCraft mod. So and they put out like a first-person shooter at one point, which was like historically horrible because it was developed in 8 months and had no money. They like every single Starship Troopers game to date that I'm aware of has been panned. So it's a cool thing to see a Starship Troopers game that looks like it's kind of getting the proper love that the Starship Troopers franchise deserves for a video game, but if it's just a story-based campaign, even if that campaign is challenging and well-designed, it's kind of a poor offering as far as an RTS goes, as far as I can tell.
See, the thing is, like, looking through their stuff, they haven't really talked about anything like that. There are achievements, though. Right now, our version only has one, so they're not, like, publicly, like, available
what?
yet.
They're not listed as they're not listed
There's-
as a feature on the Steam page, so that's why
There's
threw out
one
the question
achievement?
mark.
Well,
Because
there
I
is a
checked
place.
and didn't see it.
There's a placeholder achievement. At least my version has a placeholder achievement. That's not like, yeah. So that means like
True.
it will get achievements in the future.
No, so I probably have to play it again. Maybe they work
Unless it's smart.
retroactively.
Yeah,
They-
maybe they
they-
work retroactively.
Right.
Would hopefully work retroactively.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
hopefully.
yeah.
It's just I don't know, like a game like this to me, if it was just like a story-based campaign, a map editor, and Steam Workshop, I wouldn't have this question. But the fact that it doesn't have what feels, or it doesn't seem to have what feels like a full feature set for an RTS just kind of makes me go, you know what I mean?
It's a valid question, yeah.
Mm.
Unfortunately, I can't answer. We
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, FG did a sponsored event for it recently, but I want to call it StarCraft. Crossfire Legion, that other RTS that released recently, which has a lot of problems, admittedly. Like, I think like it's competing with its own marketing as much as it is anything else. But like, I played a bit of that, and that has all of that stuff, right? It's got, you know, you got co-op, you got multiplayer, you got a campaign, you got so much stuff, and it's at least in Canada, a cheaper game. So that's kind of where my question mark comes up. And it's like, if it's just going to end up being like a middle of the ground price range wise RTS for a campaign, if that campaign's fantastic, okay. But right now, that's the question mark for me.
Yeah, I don't know. Like from playing the campaign, I don't think it's going to have like your traditional, like even if you do like a skirmish mode type thing where you have to like, you know, build orders and buildings to build and upgrades to research. Like, I don't think it has that at all. Like
Yeah, I don't see that being a thing.
No, nothing in the campaign like hints at that. But yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to see what we get. It's coming out on the 16th, but like so far, I really did dig the single player, like the campaign so far.
Same.
I mean, if it comes out and doesn't get panned, it's done better than every other
Yes,
Starship
true.
Troopers game. Sorry, Jess, I interrupted you.
I have a question for you about this game. How creepy? Just how creepy are the bugs?
Slapstick comedy.
Depends on how much do you like bugs. So they're called arachnids, but they're not spiders. And they don't really look like spiders. So if you take a couple seconds at first and count the legs, then you realize they're not spiders. And that helps me. They're bugs. But since they're not spiders, I'm all right.
Have you ever seen Starship Troopers, Jess?
No.
Because like Starship Troopers is practically a comedy movie. Like it's a satirical comedy,
Satire, yeah.
and like it's a satirical comedy about like how fascism is bad. It's like, here is like a fascist society, and it sucks. Like that's the whole kind of shtick of Starship Troopers, right? It's like satirizing fascism, and the bugs are the big bad, but they're also practically like inflatable whack-a-moles. Like they're not scary in the movies in the slightest. They're just like these weird, like they're more akin to dinosaurs than they are bugs. Like you could replace the bugs with T-Rexes and it would fit just fine.
There's like this one bug, like it's called a tanker bug. It just looks like a giant sting bug, for example.
Yeah, it's like there's giant beetles. There's like
Yeah. So
Like-
it's not like nothing like scary. Like I wouldn't say anything scary.
like they're also closer to like the aliens from Alien. Like they're just weird alien spindle things.
I'm looking at this film right now.
It's a very goofy movie.
I mean, I'm not watching the film. I'm looking at a summary of the film.
I recommend watching it. It's good.
Yeah, same. It's
I've
good.
never seen it.
Me neither, but my
classic.
chat told me basically I have to, especially the first one, because that's the only one that counts.
Don't watch the rest of them. Just watch
Yeah,
the first.
the first one's good. The rest is kind of eh. Apparently, the CGI series is okay, but I've never seen it.
Yeah, just watch the first movie. It's like a summer blockbuster before they were making summer blockbusters like that. There's like just I don't know. There's a lot of good reasons to watch that movie. Also, a lot of memes will make a lot of sense if you watch that movie.
I've been educated, yes. The first like half an hour, everything just went over my head and I didn't understand anything. And then
Service
This
guarantees
was me with
citizenship.
Dune.
Yeah, it's like
when
it is
I-
like Dune. Yeah.
When I
It's
played Dune,
less
'cause I've
dense
never
than
seen
Dune.
or read Dune, and so I got the whole rundown from chat. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, Starship Troopers are just satirical space Nazis. That's really all it is. But
okay.
it's fun. Good movie. Jess, you want to talk to me about blowing stuff up?
In which game? Which one? Because you can blow stuff up in all three.
Sure. Okay. Do you want to talk to me about the game about blowing stuff up specifically?
I'm guessing you're talking about Teardown.
I thought you were going to say, I guess you're talking about Timberborn.
Well,
Anyway.
you can blow stuff up in
But-
that too. You can make dynamite.
Really? There's dynamite in Timberborn?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk to
Yeah.
us about Teardown, the release version?
Sure. So I played a lot of Teardown back in, I think, December or January. And I had a lot of fun with it, but like the biggest issue that I had was when you swing your hammer. This is definitely not a Kiri friendly game.
Yeah.
It's a
thanks.
first person, like, just it kind of makes me a little bit iffy, and like I don't really have too many issues with this, but my biggest problem is when you swung your hammer and hit the wall, it would shake the whole screen, and so there was no way to turn this off. So I played through a number of missions and then kind of put it aside because it was getting to the point where it was becoming too complicated to like quickly finish a mission, and I was getting sick by the end of it. So yesterday, like, we were just doing community games, and like I put up a poll, like, what do you want to do now? And everyone voted for Teardown. So I tried it again, and the first thing I did was swing my hammer, and I was so happy because I took the animation out. Because I poked the dev and I was like, can you please get rid of the shaking animation? And I was like, yes, I feel heard. And
That's so
it was so
great.
much better. It was so much better playing yesterday. And so it was good. Like, I don't know, FG, you might be able to play it now. I don't know what your problem with it was.
Yeah, it was that. Also, like just the FOV was eh. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's
I had
something
to-
about it, yeah.
I had to pull it out a lot, and it was better for me. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like, Teardown is just a really interesting concept to me. It's like a fully destructible voxel world. If you don't know what it is, I guess it's a voxel world.
Yeah.
And so your goal is to like accomplish these heist missions, and you only have a minute to pull it off. So you have to manipulate the world in order to accomplish your heist within 60 seconds. So like whatever that entails. Like yesterday I played one mission where I had to steal 6 cars. So like I had to, but I only had a minute to do it, and it's a big map. So I basically like took a car on a crane like all the way to my drop-off point, and then took another car like through a garage on the back of a like a dump truck thing. And then another one was on a second story building, and I had like craned it off and put it inside a dumpster truck. I don't know what this is called, the one with the I don't
Garbage
know,
truck?
bulldozer.
Dump truck?
I put it inside a bulldozer, and I don't know. It was just it's so silly.
Sounds really fun.
It is really fun.
See,
And
you're talking
I-
about this mission structure and stuff. I thought that the point of this game was you go to the workshop, you download the giant Bart Simpson, and then you download the Titanic and you drop Bart Simpson on the Titanic and blow them both up.
I mean, I guess you can do that. I've just been playing story mode very slowly, and luckily, so it came out 1.0, I think, last month. They changed a lot, apparently, but it didn't break my save. So I was really happy about that.
What is the story in a game like this? Like, why do you
So-
have to steal 6 cars, for example? Like, what?
The
This part's a
story is
thing.
really silly. I was going back over it yesterday, and I don't really know all the details, right? Because the story is told to you through email, like email conversations, one-sided emails. And so the first email is your mom, who is the head of sales for like teardown services, saying that like there's not enough money to pay the bills. We need to figure out how to make enough money to pay the bills. And then she like comes back to you with a sketchy job, like, hey, this person really wants like this building torn down so they can expand their mall, and this is illegal, but do it. And then you do it and you get caught by the cops, and then but the cop is like, but actually, like, if you can do me a favor and break into this place and steal some documents, I'll just like sweep this all under the rug. So then you go steal
love this.
documents from this one person, and then they reach out to you like, oh, my stuff was stolen, I need you to do this. And so it's like this big triangle of all these 3 people reaching out to you, and none of them realize that you're the person breaking into their like houses and their businesses and like taking their stuff, but employing you to like commit insurance fraud and and also steal. And it's like, it's really silly.
This is just how like the American construction industry works, right? Like I thought this was a documentary.
I hope not.
I mean, based on the number. Well,
It's
actually,
really silly.
it's
It
basically
sounds
how
perfectly
Canadian
silly.
land fraud is working, based on the number of buildings that have burnt down on my street in the last year. But
I mean, it's just so satisfying. And so there's if you search around the map, you can find valuables, and they just kind of go to your bank account, and then you can go and like off mission, you can level up your tools, which include things like bombs and guns,
minigun,
like
flamethrower.
shotgun, pistols, pipe bombs, regular bombs, blow torches. And you can upgrade them so they have more ammo and fuel, so you can be even more destructive. It's good.
There's an item on the workshop for this game. I haven't played it, but I've watched a lot of streams of it. There's an item on the workshop that just like removes all of the structure from a group of voxels, so you can just like highlight a chunk of wall and it'll just fall into the particles that it's supposed to be. It's like a disintegration gun, so you can just like highlight an entire building and it just goes and just rolls away like someone just deconstructed all of the Lego bricks at the same
Satisfying.
time, and the frame rate goes down to like a frame a second, but it is the coolest thing ever to watch.
Yeah, exactly what Kiri said. That sounds so satisfying.
Yeah,
Yes.
it really is. And there's also like a sword that you can like cut, and it draws a line, and then the line just goes in a straight line for infinity and cuts through everything it touches.
Oh.
So you like, because I was talking about that Titanic map, right? You can cut the whole Titanic in half, and it's just like, it's like just fantastic stuff like that. It's a weird game. I'm glad it exists. Speaking of cutting stuff in half, hardship spacebreaker, FG.
Yeah, so Hot Spaceship Breaker finally is released in full release. It came out in early access like 2 years ago already. It's crazy. And now it's out. Basically, what they did is they tweaked some ships, and they put a story into the game. I've said this before. I don't really care for the story because it's like big corporations are bad, unions are good. It feels very, I don't know. I've talked about this before. There's sort of I don't know. There's a desync between the gameplay and like the story it tries to tell. But taking ship apart is fantastic and relaxing and incredibly fun, and just give you unfortunately we won't get bigger ships than we have now because game engine limitations. But it's fun. It's chill until it's not chill because suddenly everything goes boom because you forgot to shut off.
Because suddenly your legs are missing because you blew them off.
No, but it's like, for example, like there's a method to, like, with the really big ships, you have to flush the fuel out of the thrusters, because if you cut the fuel lines with fuel in them, well, it's flammable. So yeah, you don't want to do that. And then you have to, and when you do that, then you have to kind of like pull apart the hull so much that you can get to the reactor, but you don't want to pull the reactor yet because you have to take down the environmental controls first. And then you take down environmental controls, and then that means that your reactor goes into meltdown. So you have to pull your reactor really quickly so you can stop the meltdown of the reactor and that sort of stuff. And if you don't do that quickly enough, well, there is a big boom, and you might die, indeed. And the ship is in about 10 million pieces. And it's just ridiculously satisfying. It's fun. Yeah, you get to upgrade your character and your tools, and you suddenly whittle away on your $1.2 billion debts, and it's very satisfying. Don't care for the story. I kind of wish it were just a simulator game and we just got bigger, better ships with like workshop integration. The devs chose to put a story in. I don't really care for it, but it's fun. It's just really heckin' fun. That's all I can say.
I'm looking at screenshots, and I've seen you play it too. It just reminds me of Subnautica, and they're nothing alike. I just think Subnautica when I see it.
Helmet, yeah, I think it's the helmet.
With the little HUD.
Yeah, with a HUD and all that sort of stuff. And it's really funny because you would think, in a game where you literally spin around and you're upside down and all that sort of stuff, that it would be really bad for simulation sickness. But for some reason, luckily in that game, I have no issues whatsoever. I can literally make myself spin around and it's fine. It's weird.
I find that so impressive.
I launched that game at 1.0 to see if it got better. Again, I lasted about 15 minutes before I wanted to hurl. I don't know what it is about that game, but there's something.
I watched FG a bit, and like it's so bad for me.
Anything with a helmet for me, I can't do, unless like the FOV is like 250.
I was just gonna say it's the helmet. Like that's the one thing that it doesn't bother me, but just for like aesthetics, I would totally actually deactivate the helmet just because I don't like having the helmet there. But that's probably it, because it narrows your field of view so much. If you have like the vignette at the end, or at the edge rather.
There's this game that came out recently that also has a helmet called Space Beast Terror Fright, which I have and I've played a little bit of, and it also has a helmet, but like the FOV is just so wide that I don't have a problem with it. It's like you're just looking through a smaller screen essentially, because it's like, oh yeah, you can just have like 200 FOV and just like see the whole room from within this smaller screen, rather than like it's full screen but the helmet is like obstructing your FOV. It makes me sad. And also I think it's interesting that you don't care for the story, whereas like the story is like the part that interests me about that game.
The thing is, I don't care for the story because it's so generic.
I think for you it's generic maybe because of where you live. Whereas for like over here, that is like telling a story about unionizing in a video game during a time when an entire like territory is trying to unionize its industry is timely and interesting. But
maybe I find it very generic. Yeah, that might be it. Also, I think because there is a word for it that like a few years ago was like really thrown around a lot. There is just this big ludo-narrative dissonance between the actual gameplay, which is the taking apart of the ship and the simulation, and then the story. And the only way you get the story is via characters talking at you.
I'm not sure where's the ludo-narrative dissonance in there?
Because the story is just people talking at you.
But like ludo-narrative dissonance is like the story not matching what you're doing, but like it's matching what you're doing because
it doesn't.
Like you're trying. Okay.
No, it doesn't, because for me it doesn't, because The only way when you get like most of the story where it happens is when you're in your hab and you're just this weird person that's like in their hab. The only thing you can see on the screen, and that's also something I would like to turn off, is the screen going up and down because the person is obviously breathing as if they've just run a marathon, because that's normal. And you have these little comic portrait at the bottom with like a little bit of tiny text, and they're just talking at you.
That's not
like,
ludonarrative dissonance, though. Ludonarrative dissonance is like, oh, we're the good guys and everything is happy and go lucky. Now I'm going to go shoot 15 people because I'm playing Uncharted 2. That's ludonarrative dissonance. This is just like cheaply presented storytelling.
I still feel like I think it still fits. Because I don't know, and I think what also bothers me, or what makes it so obvious for me, is because you never respond, you never interact with any of these characters.
But that you're okay. You're misusing the term ludonarrative dissonance here, I think. But whatever.
I just wish the story weren't in it. Also, I don't like the new hub because it's useless.
That's
you
a
just
shame.
Zoom around in it.
What a bummer.
Yeah, it's still a good game. I still recommend it to everybody to play it because it's fun and chill, and because you can still do stuff like free shifts or like just taking apart ships, so you don't have to play the story. So you can just take apart the ships and chill with it.
All right. Well, since we're all talking about games that makes Kiri throw up, I'm going to talk about Unexplored 2.
Please go ahead.
This game has a really slow-moving wobble cam that I know you get to hate, but like FG and Kiri hate, but I like because I think it looks nice. The game is it's a successor to the original, for better or for worse. It is a real-time action game where you traverse an open world that is presented very much in a kind of tabletops-ish setting, with a really interesting speech system and a really interesting dialogue and really interesting storytelling. I think that the problem with it kind of stems from the fact that getting places kind of takes a while, and you'll have to traverse rather far to get to your destination. And I kind of wish it wasn't an open world game. I think the original Unexplored was very much a dungeon crawler. You go into a dungeon and you go down floors, and you go down to the bottom, and then you work your way back up, and then you get up. That was the original Unexplored. This tries to do that, but in a big, grand open world scale. And I think that the size of the world versus how it does its encounters is a bit counterintuitive. That being said, I think it's one of the most flexible and interesting, difficult permadeath randomly generated games I've seen in a while. It has so many difficulty customization options and modifiers. It's actually kind of insane. And each one is tied to every single individual character. So you could generate a world, and when you die, you have the option to either get rid of the world and move on to a new save, or you can let the world progress and the enemy threats get stronger. The world gets harder and eviler because the enemy is winning. So the way it does its permadeath is interesting. And you can save items in chests in towns. So if you do die and you want to keep a specific shield or something, if you put it in a chest, you can go back and get it later. So your gear is going to like slowly get better as the world gets stronger if you want to do it that way. But it's just a really nice, pleasant, open world action game with an interesting dialogue system, some interesting writing, and interesting permadeath mechanics. And I quite enjoyed my time playing it, but it's a difficult game to stream because it is pretty slow.
It looks really cool. I love the art.
The art and the sound design is actually incredible. Maybe my favorite sound design I've seen in the last year or so. It's got very loud, crunchy sounds, and the 3D audio is really good. Like, you know exactly where an enemy is just by hearing the attack patterns.
Yeah, that's cool. I've played this before. I played the demo of it, and I couldn't for long.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, you're right. That's very, very not Kiri friendly.
There is an option in there called Cinematic Cam, and if you turn that off, it lowers the amount of camera sway, but it's still there.
Yeah. Oh, too bad.
Yeah, camera sway is just I also just can't do it.
You can also disable the screen shake, which is good.
That is good.
That is good, yeah.
But like, yeah,
Not enough for me.
It kind of feels like the camera is actually my biggest annoyance with the game, because like it kind of feels like you're fighting with the camera in places, and there's spots where like the camera angle isn't conducive to what you're trying to achieve as the player. Like, it has this option if you hit shift where it'll zoom out further, zoom in closer, and then go to like a straight top down. I kind of wish it just had like the straight top down for all of the environments. I think that would have just worked a lot better and just locked it on the character like the first game. But they didn't go that route. And so the camera is like the biggest annoyance with the game for me. That and like the long travel times. It has mostly positive reviews on Steam right now, and I think that's about right. Like, I have some caveats with it. I think it's doing some really interesting things. Like I said, the dialogue system is fantastic. The dialogue system is like, you get a bunch, like, based on your relation with the person that you're talking to, so their faction or that faction's culture or your character's knowledge of that faction, you'll get these little circle things that kind of look like coins, and it just pulls one out at random, so it gives you a draw basically, and so you'll get one or two options, and you can pick one or two options, and it'll add those options back into the pool. So you can just be like, push your luck. So you'll get one great success added to the pool, or one bad failure added to the pool, or you can just have two minor successes added to the pool, and stuff like that. And it'll just keep drawing until you run out of your free draws, and then you select whether or not you succeed or fail. And then you can pay for more draws using spirits, which are these things that you pick up just around the world. Like, you find them as you break pots and stuff. So it's like this little currency that you collect just while playing. And so if you have a lot of those, you can like basically just keep the dialogue going until you succeed, but with a cost that you have to go and repay later. So it's like kind of a really neat little dialogue system and like dice roll system that happens on like when you try and climb a wall or traverse a scary thing. So I really like that system. I really like the combat does feel good when it works, and the world and kind of story and the writing that the game has is really neat, but playing the game kind of hits a wall in places.
Yeah, so I have I'm just kind of looking at this. This is my first time seeing it. It looks really cool, and like, but just looking at this and like contemplating it, I think that's my dog. Interrupted.
That was so perfect.
I didn't even hear it.
Now I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Kuma. It does look like maybe the open world aspect really does detract from it. So my question is, like, what does the open world bring to it, if anything?
So the whole point of, like, this is very heavily inspired by traditional roguelikes, right? So are you familiar with the staff or the amulet of Yondor? Okay. So it's a thing from D&D that roguelikes stole back in the 80s, and it's become like a trend in traditional roguelikes, like the games that I play, right? Where maybe not a trend, but like a running theme. If you play a fantasy roguelike, there's probably something called the Staff or the Amulet of Yondor. And essentially it's an end of the world device, right? It's a thing that ends the world, so it's up to the character to recover it and destroy it, right? Sort of like a Lord of the Rings type deal. So you have this magical staff, which is the Staff of Yondor, and you are the traveler at the garden, the wayfarer, thus the subtitle of the game, The Wayfarer's Legacy. You are the wayfarer, and you are basically like the world's chosen disciple who has to take this staff and destroy it. So your goal is to destroy the staff. So what you have to do is you have to figure out how to destroy the staff. And there are each major region in the game is run by a different clan. You have to basically earn the trust of these clans to be able to destroy the staff, and they will point you in the direction of how to destroy the staff. But you go to each clan and they're like, I need a gift to work with you. So you have to go find them a gift, and they'll tell you where to go get them a gift. Like, I need you to go to this clock tower on the other side of the world with this other clan that doesn't like you. Also, the second you accept this quest, this other clan's going to try and kill you. So you have to try and travel across the world to get this item and bring it back to the first guy. And then they'll be like, yay, here's a tip on how to do this. Now you have to go to this other part of the world to go talk to these people, to go somewhere else to get this thing. So you bring that back to them. And then all the while you're like discovering bits of knowledge about the world, and ideally not dying a lot and storing items everywhere in different chests. And then when you die, you go and collect your items, you go grab the staff again, and then you continue on with what you were doing previously with a new character and a new build.
That sounds very tedious.
Kind of is, which is why I said the open world aspect kind of is what detracts from it for me.
Yeah,
and
I think
it's a node-based open world, so
finish.
it's a node-based open world, so it's kind of like you have like one spot, and then there's 4 nodes, and then there's multiple random encounters that can happen between the nodes, and then when you get to the node, you can either explore the node, go down onto the node, explore the node and camp and like repair your gear, or you can just move to the next node.
So is there no fast travel
Nope.
option?
There's like a teleporting system, but I'm 7 hours in and I haven't actually gotten the stuff to make it work yet.
I feel like it could be recovered with a fast travel system.
Well, you have
I
to
don't
go
know.
down to the bottom of some really hard dungeons and get the specific item to go put it into both ends of where you want to teleport to. So you have to take these orbs and you have to go power up these teleporters in 2 separate towns and then link them together, which is like a quest line in and of itself. It's a neat game because it's got a lot of skippable content and a lot of stuff that, like, I'd love to see a speed run of it. It's a neat game, but it's weird. But the first one was weird, so I don't know.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah,
does.
Yeah,
It looks and
agreed.
sounds incredible. That's what I will say about Unexplored. And also, most of the character voice acting, I think, is just done by the developer, and their voices are like a guy going blip 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 blip, and it's very fun. Or like whenever you roll your dice in the conversation system, the person's like blah 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 blah. It's just very fun. I don't know. There's bits and pieces around it, and it's got a lot of charm and character to it. I do really like it. It's not a perfect game. But what do we have on here? Anybody want to take a next one? Kind of blanking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can go. But Kiri said first, so Kiri goes.
Okay. Right. So I want to talk about Captain of Industry. That is now in early access, and I think it's like a mix of Anno and Victorio, because it's not just a factory game, but you also have a settlement, and you need to keep them alive. So you need to give them food. At the start, that's only potatoes, but eventually they want, or you can make different types of food, and then they also want it, and then you get water treatment for them and such. And there's exactly right. And there's a huge tech tree. It is absolutely insane. I played about, I don't know, 10 hours, I think, and I've made it. So when you zoom out completely, because you can zoom out and then tech tree, you basically have 3 monitors full of tech tree. And I've made it to the end of the first monitor, I suppose. Then it gets more and more complicated what you need to do for this, for all the stuff that you need to make. But so I don't really like factory games because they just break my brain. But this one doesn't, so far at least. And I enjoyed this way more than I thought I would. Because you have this aspect of take care of the people in a way. And I feel like I have enough time between research to just really figure out how that one new thing works. And then I do this and I build it. And then I can tackle the next thing. Because with other factory games, I'm like immediately overwhelmed by all the things that I have to do. And then I just give up. But this one has a really good pace. I want to know now how people feel like what people feel like when they play this, when they are super into factory games, because maybe that's boring for them then, I don't know. But for me, it has a really great pace. And the kind of scary thing is that all resources are finite, because you're only on a small island. But then you have a ship, and with that ship you can go out and explore, and that's a bit like in Frostpunk, where you have also nodes, and you go to that node and explore, and maybe you find people, maybe you find resources. And then there are some nodes with pirates. At the start, you don't have guns on your ship, so you just have to flee again. But then you can also find more resources, like an oil rig, for example, and then you need a cargo ship and collect that and stuff. And it gets really complicated, but it's a good game for conveyor and pipe spaghetti. So it's fun. I enjoyed this way more than I thought I would.
I haven't played the 1.0 release version yet. I was... that's what I meant. The early access version, because I played the alpha already back in September, because I've already played the game before. I also really enjoyed it, and it's a really, really ambitious project, like how complicated and like crazy it's going to get. It was already really good then. absolutely. It's gonna be really good to see when it's actually finished, and I'm excited for it as well. I need to jump into this version because I haven't played since September, since you became able to like buy into the alpha, because that's when they also lifted like the basically NDA, like you could show it at that time, and it's even then it was good, complicated but really really good already.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a look at the research tree, and it does get super complicated. So far, it's still okay. Like, I still understand what I've got to do. But I think I'm very quickly now reaching a point where I'm just like, okay, what I can do now is great. And I'm going to just watch the trucks drive around now. I'm going to be done with it.
This game feels to me like one that I can't judge until I try it myself.
Same.
I'm just looking at it and I don't know what to think.
The only judgments I have for this game is, oh look, another game where you take a beautiful landscape and turn it into a hellscape.
Yeah. You can terraform as well, and that's really cool because basically everything on the island, you just say, trucks or excavators go there, take that, and then you can also put it somewhere else. And people produce waste. So you can... I made a trash insula and just put waste into the ocean and made an island there. It's great.
To be fair, the world of Captain of Industry is already screwed.
Doesn't make me feel any better about it.
But that's why you're on the ship, and that's why people are on ships and on islands, because polar ice caps are.
Doesn't change the fact that games like that make me sad.
Yeah.
Like, it's the reason I don't like playing Factorio is because I love the way Factorio's world looks when you spawn in. I also just, factory games make my brain hurt, but like, when you spawn into Factorio, I love the way the world looks. I kind of hate the way it looks after your factory is built.
Yeah, I get that.
It's not like Age of Empires where like I love the way the world looks and then I build my base and I go fight things and I love the way it looks by the end of it. Almost every factory game I've ever played, including like even Satisfactory and like watching Dyson Sphere program, it's like, this looks awesome. And then the built factory is like, this is ugly.
I gotcha. Because there's
I need a factory game where it's like trying to like coexist with forests and stuff, and then I'm in.
That'd be nice. Like a super advanced one with already renewable energy and everything.
Or or like David Attenborough's kind of envision of like a future society where we all just live in like a rainforest in like weird towers with like drones that harvest natural wild fruit and stuff. Like that I'd be into. Like Anno 2205.
Sounds
but
good.
not Anno 2205 because that game was meh.
I mean, I guess that's more of a puzzly thing, but I guess more like Terra Nil, I guess.
Yeah, like that's a game I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Right? That's on I think everybody's watch list. That game looks great.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
sorry
I
to just
agree with
derail
you.
that, but
No, it's definitely true because, like as you said, like for example in Factorio it's like extreme. If you go like heavy on like the actual like coal and wood burning stuff, like the way the pollution spreads and all that sort of stuff, absolutely. Though, to be fair, in Factorio, you can theoretically try to do it with only renewables. It just takes a while longer. Like, you can do just solar panels and steam power.
They're still flattening all the forests, though.
Yeah, at some point.
Killing the bugs in the
partially
home
at least.
that you invaded.
You can play without bugs, because you don't need the bugs anymore.
But
because
still their home. Even if you disable them, you just beat them
Not
already.
anymore.
But then they're not there.
They don't exist.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, all wildlife on Earth don't exist if we kill it first.
Yeah, but it's not guaranteed that it's dead if you just play without bugs on, which is probably the only way that I enjoy Factorio.
Out of sight,
but
out of
anyways,
mind.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Just like dodos. Jess, do you want to talk about Crusader Kings 3?
Yeah, I never know how to talk about Crusader Kings 3. It's just so much game.
How many daughters did you sleep with?
None.
Okay. How many siblings did you marry to each other?
None?
Are you even playing Crusader Kings 3? What's wrong?
I don't think you're playing it right.
I think you're playing the game
Yeah,
wrong.
no, chat tells me that. I don't play it right.
You're supposed to be an awful monarch.
Yeah, I know. Like one of my moderators has like tons of time in CK3, but he says that when he plays, he just is always an awful person, and he tries to help me through like some of the game events, and he's like, it's really hard for me to adjust my playstyle for Jess's playstyle because she's too nice. And Crusader Kings,
I like that.
But there was just a new flavor pack released called Fate of Iberia.
Does it come with chocolate? It's a
No, I
flavor
don't think
pack.
so.
What about
I
orange?
was trying to think if there was like any new food or something in the game, but I don't think so.
Sorry.
They added a lot of new stuff. Like with the flavor pack came like new models for the buildings and characters, but I don't know about food. And I think there's some new events too. But this one takes place on the Iberian Peninsula, and it's really interesting because they introduce a struggle system. So pretty much it's just limited to that peninsula. So I've already asked it. You can't apply this anywhere else. It's like the Vikings, you know, like it's just unique to the area. So I still need to play a bit more, but you start in one phase, the opportunity phase, and you have the option of moving into an era of hostility or an era of conciliation and peace. So the way that you decide where you move or which era you move into is based on what the decisions that you as a player make, but then also the AI around you. So like all the involved members, and there's ways to be an interloper or uninvolved, but all of the members who are involved, the decisions that they make generate points that either move you towards hostility or peace. And then there's phases afterwards, but I haven't even gotten through this first phase yet on stream. But it's really interesting. It hasn't so far played that much different. Like the phase actually modifies game rules depending on which phase you're in. So like things that might normally be unavailable to your culture or to a religion or even to a time period, like they'll be enabled or disabled depending on what phase you're in. So I mean, it's kind of cool. I like I said, I've hardly broken the surface, or broken the surface. No. Anyways, I still have so much more to play.
Is that something?
Cool, like,
is that something you can start immediately, or do you have to, I don't know, play a bit in your playthrough until you unlock this?
no, it's immediate. As long as
Okay.
you have the flavor pack, and it's like with the other starting scenarios, like when you're building or choosing your character, and it has those tabs at the top of the game. Or at the top of the screen where it's like the era or like the year, and it has different rulers that you can choose from. It's got like a list of pre-generated characters that you can choose from, and it will just throw you into it.
All right, that's
immediately.
good.
It's pretty neat. I mean, it's much cheaper than the Royal Court DLC. I mean, the Royal Court DLC was actually pretty cool. And so, like, you can obviously play this flavor pack along with it. So it's kind of neat because, like, I ended up getting, like, a Viking into my court somehow. And I turned, I turned him into one of my son's tutors. And then I'm having that Viking turn that son into a Norseman, like, convert his culture to Norse. So then I can give him a county. So I have a Norse county. And then like that's how you culture merge. With the Royal Court DLC, you have to have like a county, I'm pretty sure, in your realm, and you have to like work in a positive way with the other cultures so that you generate acceptance between each other. And then once acceptance is high enough, you can merge and like take bits of one culture and bits of another and just make a whole new play style. And so I'm like, I'm gonna make this like Viking culture where we can raid, but also like I don't know, it's gonna be cool.
I love how excited you are about this. When I listened to it, I was just like, oh god, no, please, that's way too complicated.
When I hear people talk about Crusader Kings 3, I go, oh, this is how people feel when I talk about Dwarf Fortress.
Probably, yeah.
I actually have to say, I watched Jess play, and that made me start playing CK3 again. So I've been playing, like, I've not been playing on stream, but I've played off stream, and there's some really good new stuff in it. Like.
So you also played the new DLC?
So I played with the new DLC on and Royal Court on and that sort of stuff. But I played as an uninvolved ruler. So if you're not in the area, you're not involved, but you can theoretically insert yourself. If you start conquering area in Iberia, you can then just become part of the struggle and like the fate of Iberia. And it's because a lot of people. The one issue that people had with CK3 when it came out is that it obviously didn't have as much content as CK2. I mean, how could it? CK2 is like, 9 years old at the time and had like bajillions of DLCs. But now with the DLC out and the 2 flavor packs out and that sort of stuff, like it feels like it's moving more towards that area, and you can do really cool things because like with the Royal Court, with the expansion, you actually have a court. Like, you can go into your court and you can put your artifacts on display in your court and you can do more stuff with that. You can, like, have people come and, petition you because you're the king now and that sort of stuff. Like, it's really cool. And it is becoming, like, there's just so much more substance now in the game. It's really fun.
I just remembered we talked about Royal Court a long time ago on the podcast, and we were saying that a big complaint was that you could only have a court if you're feudal. They changed that. That's like very old news, but now you can play Royal Court as tribal. So, improvement.
Oh, that's good.
That's the update I said I would give you like months ago. So
yeah, that was like I played on stream when Royal Court came out, and I choose somebody that was feudal. So I was like, oh crap, I did this and now I can't play the DLC basically because you can't, which is kind of silly because yes, they didn't have a court, but they still had, their long houses with meetings and attendants and slaves.
Wait,
and
you
all
started
that
as
sort of
feudal
stuff.
or you started as tribal?
I started as tribal. Sorry, did I say
Okay.
feudal? Sorry, I meant tribal. Yeah, I started as tribal and you couldn't have it because I was a Viking.
Yeah,
and
I did that too. But it was also fun to like unlock it. But I understand if you pay for the content, you just
and
want
then you
the content.
can't. Yeah.
Yeah. But now you can. So that's cool. I'm glad they listened,
I'm going to take the floor for a second and do a quick one, if that's okay. So I played this game last week and recorded it for YouTube and put up a video on it. And I haven't streamed it at all. It's pretty short, so there's no real reason to. And this game is Monster Fight, spelled MONSTRFITE. I will link this on our private Discord here, just so that people can go take a look. Obviously, anybody listening to the podcast, the link will be included. It's on itch, and it is a free 1-bit dungeon crawler thing. So the kind of presentation of the game is it looks like an old game for like any 1-bit system. So you have two states for your pixels on and off, right? So it's just like blacks, some grays using like scatter patterns, and then white. So it's a very simple, like, one-note kind of visual style. But the whole kind of conceit of the game is you get into an argument with your romantic partner, in air quotes, named Charlie. And they're really mad that you just keep playing this video game and ignoring them. And then the argument ends and you take a bajillion damage and I guess they knock you out or something. And you wake up in this fantasy realm where you have to fight monsters that progressively look more and more and more like your partner as you go through. But the whole kind of shtick of the game is it's a pretty simple, like kind of JRPG kind of combat system. Think of it like a really light Darkest Dungeon. So you have kind of like your town and you can like go to the school and like learn skills and you can like train new magic powers. You can upgrade gear at the smith. You can stay a night at the inn and recover health and your energy and stuff. It's got a neat little combat system. It's based off of using the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 buttons. So it's literally driven with like 4 buttons on the keyboard. Mostly 5 is to select some things. It's a very simple little game, but the writing is really funny. Or at least I found it really funny. Like you'll encounter people and they'll just like start insulting you in really amusing ways. For a game where you're playing as a person in psychosis because they got knocked out by their partner, it's very funny. It's kind of like a very light Darkest Dungeon with some amusing writing. Like I became a vampire one time, and then every single time in between each attack, I would try and suck the blood of the enemy that I was fighting. But if they didn't have blood, it would give me like this, you try and bleed the skeleton and it doesn't bleed and you are confused and then you take damage. and stuff like that. So it's an amusing fourth wall breaker video game that I found very fun.
It seems like commentary on abusive relationships.
Yep, that too. But it's free, so just if it interests you, go try it. If you want a light Darkest Dungeon.
Yeah, right?
I think you can pay what you want if you want, so you can like chuck them a couple bucks for it. But,
Where can you find it?
itch.io. I put a link to it in the podcast room on this Discord. But yeah, it's just free. So that's where I played it. And yeah. I'm looking at the thing here. What have we not done yet? Kiri, talk to us about Card Shark.
Yeah, Card Shark. Super unique game. 2D graphics, maybe hand painted, I'm not sure, but like very unique graphics. And the story is set in France in the 18th century. And you're a mute boy who was working as a waiter, but then a guy cheated at cards, started a fight in a bar, and the mistress of the boy got killed. And then he fled with that guy who started a fight. So now you're on the run, and they're taking you in and learning you card tricks and how to cheat at cards. And all the tricks that they teach you are actually real card tricks. And it's impressive. It is super, super cool. It's best played with a controller, and that works mostly well, I'm gonna say. And then they teach you and explain things. Then they like guide you through it, and you try it. And it's like, in order to do this trick, I forgot its name, you have to pick up the cards in a certain order so that this person gets a high card, the other person gets a low card. So you need to pick this up in a certain way. Then you need to shuffle once. Then you need to add like 2 more cards so that they're in the correct position. Then you need to in-jog a card. Then you need to shuffle again twice. And it's like, it's so complicated, but also it all makes sense. Like they really break it down so that you can understand it. And you could also just take a deck of cards and try it IRL. It's very impressive. And then you play the story, which is also really cool. And you learn more about the world and the mysterious 12 bottles of milk. I still don't know what it is, but that's you need to find out what the 12 bottles of milk are. I think it's an event. But super cool. Really, really impressive. And difficult.
Yeah. I'm really interested in this game. I requested a key and haven't heard back yet, but like I really want to try it.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
I might just buy it. But that is a neat looking game. Looks cool.
Yeah, I've never played anything like it. It's so unique. and I talked to the developer was in my chat then, and the developer likes card tricks and magic tricks, and that's why they made the whole game and made it accurate as well, because they're just fascinated with it. It's
You
really
should
cool.
invite them on this podcast. I'd like to talk to them about that game.
That'd be fun.
But
So yeah, highly recommend Card Shark.
Cool.
Cool.
I'm glad that one comes with a good review because I like how it looks a lot, and I haven't heard anyone talk about their impression of it.
Yeah.
So yes,
I've played
heard
for
It's exciting.
5.5
few really
hours.
good impressions.
Nice. I've played for 5.5 hours. I'm halfway through the content because I think there are
Okay.
28 card tricks that you can learn, and I'm at 14 now.
Cool. Do you actually need to know how to play poker to play this?
No, absolutely
Okay,
not.
good.
So you only do the tricks, really. You don't actually get to play the game. So they
Gotcha.
just say you have a map with nodes again, the node maps today. So you go to that node, it's an inn, and you need 10 coins to buy yourself into that game, basically. And on the way there, you sit in a carriage, I think, and the other guy explains how you're going to cheat at cards there and what you're going to do. And then that's all you have to do. You don't actually have to play a card game.
I really like the conceit that the character is mute, though. That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, and the funny thing is, I haven't mentioned that at all, because the character is mute, but people talk to you, and you have like 2 options how to reply to whatever they say. You have a word there that's just for you, the player, but then you've got the funniest facial expressions of the character you play. Like, one raised eyebrow, super wide open eyes, or like, I don't know, a sneer. It's so funny. It's really good.
Fantastic.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Neat representation, too. So I like that kind of stuff. Cool.
Absolutely.
I look forward to trying it.
I've got one left, and I think that's the last one on this long list of games.
No, I still have one to talk about.
I have
Which one
one
did you
too.
not talk about? Oh, yeah, that one. All right, so I'll do mine because it'll be quick.
Yeah.
And then we'll move on to my time at Sandrock. Anyway, so 20 minutes till dawn. Have any of you played this yet?
No.
But I want to.
No,
Okay.
I looked at it though.
It's Vampire Survivors, but you can aim. That's it. So it's Vampire Survivors, but everybody are pretty lady vampires, and it's got and how do I explain this without just like sounding like I'm saying it's a 1-to-1 to Vampire Survivors? So it's a wave-based survival arcade game with some meta progression. It's there are multiple unlockable characters, each with their own unique perks, and multiple unlockable weapons. You pick a character and you pick a weapon. There's also a tech tree of perks that you can unlock your way down as you just play the game. You earn these little flame icon-y things. I haven't paid enough attention to figure out what they're called, but you get this in-game currency and you can unlock perks. The perks can be equipped, and you can equip one of each tier of both the combat and defensive. So you can build quite unique builds, actually. Like the kind of breadth and depth of this thing is actually kind of neat. So you pick a character, you pick a gun, and the guns there's a revolver, which is just a pew pew gun. There's like dual SMGs, which is dual SMGs. There's a shotgun. There's a flamethrower. There's a gun that shoots bats. There's a grenade launcher and a crossbow. And they all kind of have like different perks and effects. There are different characters with their own unique perks that are unlocked as you go through. There are boss fights, but aside from that, it's a very similar structure to Vampire Survivors. There's a 20-minute countdown timer, and the waves of enemies get more and more intense, and there are mini boss fights throughout as the countdown timer gets harder. Something I will say about this game, because it's more of a twin stick shooter than like just kind of your idle fighter. So like you're actually like aiming in a direction with your gun. There is an achievement for beating it without actually shooting though. So like there is one character who like teleports and leaves a little a clone of themselves that attacks in an AoE around them. So you can beat it without shooting, but it is very much like this is a game where you have to aim. It is extremely difficult. I have about 8 hours in it yet, and the furthest I've gotten is 2 minutes from the end. So it is very hard. So if you're looking for something that's like Vampire Survivors but has a lot more difficulty and like build crafting and theory crafting instead of just kind of going through the motions to unlock everything, it's an interesting thing. It's worth the $2, that's for sure. Yeah, that's 20 minutes till dawn. Also, when you beat it, you unlock modifiers and make the game harder. And there's 15 levels of difficulty. So actually 100%ing this thing might actually be really hard. But I've enjoyed my time with it. It's very satisfying. Combat feels good. You can disable screen shake.
Nice.
Thank you. That is good to know.
Good, yep.
The camera does follow the mouse, but it's very slight.
I was watching a stream today, and it looked totally okay without screen shake.
Yeah, but
also,
like,
it has achievements. I just checked.
Yes, but they're all like beat the game on this character with this gun on the hardest. 15. You've beaten the game 15 times difficulty. So like, they're not easy achievements. Or like beat the game without shooting. I can't beat the game with shooting. Or beat the game without getting hit. I certainly can't do that. So
yeah, okay.
They're hard achievements. Look at the percentages of people that complete them. They are hard.
It looks really cool.
It's a fun game. I've enjoyed my time with it. Like I played it for 6 hours the first time I streamed it, and then I did another 2 last night just cause. And like it's fun. I enjoy the game a lot more than Vampire Survivors. But yeah, it's like 0.1% of people have finished the hardest thing. Like most of them, it's like 0.1. So those
Impressive.
are rare achievements. It's hard, but it's also in early access, so rebalances and stuff's gonna get added. Yeah, it's fun. Try it.
Can I just quickly interject? There are so many games coming out right now, and I'm always thinking, this is going to be great on a Steam Deck. Oh, I'm going to wait until I get the Steam Deck, and then I'm going to play it. It's just, I still don't have it, by the way, but much excited, and this looks like a perfect game for the Steam Deck.
Interjecting to your interjection.
Yes.
we ended up ordering a Steam Deck, and so we're on the list too, but we're like late.
Yeah.
Late on the list. So maybe one day.
One day it will happen.
It's been at the border for 3 weeks.
Oh.
Just waiting for
hopefully
their customs.
Yeah. Hopefully
Wow,
soon.
That's long.
That's America for you. Talk to us about Sandrock. FG, go.
Yeah, My Time at Sandrock. Finally here. It's the sequel to My Time at Portia. It's in early access, but boy, does it have a lot of content. So if you don't know what My Time at Portia, My Time at Sandrock is, they're 3D life sims like Stardew Valley, but instead of farming, it's more about building and crafting items. There's some farming, ranching, dungeon diving, mining, relationship stuff, going on dates and doing mini games and all sorts of stuff. Was originally planned to be a DLC for Portia, but the scope was just so much bigger, so they made it their own game. They kickstarted it. Kickstarter alpha came already out last year. They kept it in alpha for a year. Listened to a lot of feedback, and it's just awesome. It's more Portia, but better. Better graphics, better models, just more things to do, more crafting. The characters are pretty good. Some of them are a bit stereotypical because it leans into a little bit of a Western thing, and so there's a little bit of stereotyping going on for certain characters. But yeah, I played this version, which is the early access version, for over 50 hours, and like there is a lot. There's like lots of main story. Like I finished main story 43 hours in. But then there were more side quests to do, and then there's the commissions to do, because obviously you need to get your workshop to like level to the top level, and it's really, really good. They have a roadmap out. Multiplayer is coming at the end of the year, because this is the big thing about this one. It'll have multiplayer. I don't know if multiplayer is going to be just co-op or if it's going to be more multiplayer than that. That I couldn't like find out just yet, but yeah, it's bigger, it's better, it's going to be multiplayer. Early access, of course, always the risk that it might not get finished, but they've got a good track record before Pythia Games, the developers, and yeah, it's just really fun, and I played it for like 2 weeks straight on my channel every single day.
Right now, I'm going to interject. We talked about this game quite a bit on the last episode.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But so I don't really have anything to say aside from this game is a really good example of ludonarrative dissonance. It's a super happy-go-lucky, lovely little farming sim game in a dark post-apocalypse where everything's depressing and everybody's going to die. That's ludonarrative dissonance.
No, it's not a super happy-go-lucky game, though. No, it's not, because literally everybody talks to you about how Sandrock is failing because
yes, that's
there is
ludonarrative
no
dissonance. Look at the visual presentation of the game. Everything's super happy, lovely, and go-lucky.
No, ludonarrative difference
Dissonance.
is dissonance is the difference between the story that is told through gameplay and the story that is told through looks.
Farming.
It's not really farming though. There's hardly any farming, and the farming is actually really difficult. The farming
Okay, fine.
is really
Completely
difficult.
disagree with me. Move on.
No, because because the thing is, you say there's farming. Yes, there is farming, but the way the farming is you have to fight for farmland from the desert. Because you have to make sure that you can actually, because everybody will be like, farming is really difficult. The desertification is a big problem.
Yes, but look at it. If
It's
that story and that gameplay would fit if the game looked like Last of Us 2, but it looks like a frickin' Pixar film. That's ludonarrative dissonance.
No, because
I have no input on this.
But like I said, you don't agree with me, so move on. I don't want to have this argument
because
with you.
I don't agree with you, because ludonarrative dissonance has nothing to do with how a game looks. It's about how the story is told and how the gameplay is done.
Like
There's
I said.
nothing about graphics.
Move on.
Never!
All right, then you keep talking, and I'll go
it's
make another
fine.
cup of coffee.
No, please keep going, because I'm waiting for my pizza, because I'm really hungry. I need dinner.
He already left.
Yeah, okay. That's fine.
So here we are.
Yeah, we're just waiting now.
Here we
It's fine. I'm just waiting for my pizza. I'm really hungry. It's really late. Yes.
Are we counting this as a break?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know.
He's gonna edit this later.
Maybe.
No, you know what? We're talking about post-apocalyptic games. Talk to us about post-apocalyptic Timberborn. Go.
All right, sure. Timberborn. So recently I started trying something new. Similar to like how Blind does his like patron backers pick, where he has his patrons vote on a game. I have done it differently, where I let like patrons and subscribers vote for a game, and once per month, and they voted for Timberborn. So I hadn't played Timberborn since I think September 2021, and so since then there's been a bunch of updates. Update 1, which feels like a misnomer because there's been many updates, but it's their first major content patch, and that added so much new stuff, just new buildings, new resources, and it was like a whole different game. Except it was the same game. It just played so much better than I remember Timberborn being. Like, just a lot of the ways that the game felt gated, it feels much better now. There's still some things where it just is really frustrating, like the district mechanic, but I get why they're doing it. And like, I don't know, I would like that to change, but if it doesn't, I mean, okay. But it's really cool, like the way that you build vertically. Like, I'm not sure if they rebalanced resources or something, but it's become much easier to build, and especially to build vertically, because the problem that I had when I played previously is the platforms that you needed to build like this were really expensive. But they're still expensive, but maybe like they changed how many resources are harvested, because my resource management felt better. But what's really cool is the water dynamics, and I know that's their like whole selling point is manipulating the water, but it was actually very neat. I ended up making this massive lake on my map just because I could. And like I ended up making like 3 different dams, and so my little village, like I had one dam and then another and then a third, and it was really easy for me to start managing water throughout the drought, like as it got longer, because in Timberborn there you go through a period where it's not a drought in the post-apocalyptic world, and then you have a drought cycle, and every time it happens, it gets longer. So I ended up making this massive lake behind my first floodgate, and then I have a second one that would like regulate water into my downstream village, and then a third one to just stop all the water from draining altogether. And so I ended up being able to just like, okay, let's drain my lake a little bit, and I don't know, it was really cool.
Funnily enough, you just picked it up again, because literally yesterday they dropped the experimental for update 2, so you should probably just play again next week, because it's going to be a whole new different game. Because
I have a good way of doing this, actually. That happened with Tavern Master too.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you did. Yeah, because they're adding a whole bunch of stuff. They're adding golems now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
That's sorry, automatons.
That's probably their way of like bringing some endgame spice, because as far as like Timberborn's cool, it has a lot of cool elements to it, but like it doesn't have an endgame. And the golems that they're adding, I'm hoping that this is like, I don't know, maybe this is a way to add automation.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because I assume since they're golems, I don't know, I haven't played, but that would feels like it should feel like they should just go unless they need charging. So they should just even also work throughout the night, I suppose. And that sort of stuff. They're also rebalancing needs and some science point stuff, and you get more unlocks. Like, it looks really cool, like the screenshots that they have. I'm excited. I might have to play some Timberborn next week myself as well.
Yeah, do it. I really hope there's like one thing that I really, 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 really hope that they change, and it's resource recovery. Because right now, you don't get resources back at all. So if you put a building down and like you put the frame, if your beavers place resources into it, then they're gone. Like, well, yes, they're gone. If you delete the building, they're gone. If you realized, oh, I just need to move this building over one tile, like even if it's in the middle of being constructed, you just lose everything. And as a player that really likes to change my mind a lot, it's frustrating, but it's cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where that game goes. It's been slow-ish, but it's been plodding on steadily, and it's gonna be good to see where it goes.
Do we know when it's coming out?
The game, you mean, like, or the
yeah,
update?
like version 1. No, sorry, version 1.
No, I don't think they have a roadmap that goes that far.
I think I think they're moving a little bit quicker because they doubled their studio size. Is this right?
I mean, it's sold really well, so that wouldn't surprise me.
I sometimes get the things mixed up. I think it was Mechanistry. They went from 6 to 12 developers. I think so. So,
That's
I mean,
nice.
hopefully it goes faster.
Glad it's going well for them.
That was it. We're done. We went through. We got through all of the games. We did it.
I started reading the post to.
I was waiting if there was a follow-up anecdote there before just like jumping us into questions.
I started reading because I was trying to confirm or deny if I got that right.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good chunk of video games. So maybe we say enough of video games. We go to a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about user submitted questions, because we've kind of done a ping on social media asking for questions. So we can read through those and answer some questions on podcast. So we'll be back in a short minute after this quick break, and when we return, we will answer these user submitted questions. Back in a moment.
Hello, I am Sui. I am a part-time streamer on Twitch. part of the lovely Halcyon Frequency, and I am also a full-time student. I stream primarily wholesome kind of indie games with, slice of life, RPG, all that good stuff. And you can follow me over on Twitch at twitch.tv/Suey, Suwey.
And we're back. Once again, this is the Halcyon Frequency Podcast for, I don't know why I say this every single time, but it's kind of become a habit. Anyway, this is episode 21 of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast featuring myself, Blind, FGsquared, Jess, and 2D Kiri. And we're in this question segment because it's the third year of Halcyon Frequency existing, and the questions bucket has been a little empty as of late. So we kind of put out a reach into the social media sphere. If you do want to ask questions, this is kind of a regular segment, but we've just kind of made it the theme of this episode. If you want to ask questions, go to the Halcyon Frequency Discord and go to the podcast questions room and post your question there. Of course, the podcast topics room is also there where you can discuss the podcast if you so desire, or just, ask us questions about it, more without them being answered on the podcast, I guess. So, FG is going to start off with this first question from Without Getting Wet.
Yeah, that's the person who kicked this all off, because this question was actually posted before we put the call out. So big shout outs to Without Getting Wet. Thanks for doing that and getting that started. And the question is there a video game or some other media that you're a big fan of, but you haven't had the opportunity to talk about on the podcast?
On the podcast specifically, or just in general?
I added the on the podcast, but I assume it's on the podcast because we mostly talk about recent games that we've played. Yeah. But that was mine edit. So is there a video game or media that you're a big fan of that you haven't talked about?
I do have one.
Spill your secrets. Tell me.
I've talked about it ever so slightly on the podcast and somewhat around, but actually Arcane. The
developer?
The animated...
Oh, the TV show. Sorry.
Yeah, the animated series in the League of Legends world. I did not watch it when everyone was going crazy about it, and I watched it somewhat recently, and I really liked it, but I don't know, everyone was over it, and so I didn't have a chance to, gush about it with anybody.
It's so good.
Yeah, it was really good.
Anybody else that can think of
this
something?
This is a tough one because I'm on every episode. So, FG, if you have an answer, go.
So my answer is mostly just kind of, it's not really a recent thing, but it's the nostalgia of video games that I played as a kid, and just retro games in general. Because most of the other people on the podcast, or on the team besides Bellana, are 10 years younger than I am. So we didn't really grow up playing the same stuff. So Belle and I kind of have that shared thing. But it's really hard to talk about somebody about retro games if you've never played that game and to explain it and whatnot. So if we could do at some point your retro gaming episode, I'd be there. So it's a big thing, because I used to actually, not anymore really, especially not with the pandemic on, but I was really into retro game collecting, actually going to flea markets and car boot sales and all that sort of stuff, and just look through people's stuff and buy cheap video games off of them, and that was really fun. And I have a big collection of comparatively it's not big, but it's probably around, at the biggest it was probably around 1,000 games. It's smaller ever since I moved to England because I sold some stuff off. But haven't had the chance to talk about that much.
That's cool.
That's my answer.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of anything, which sounds a bit sad, but I don't know. I like games or I dislike games, but they're cool.
The word fan is derived from fanatic, thus being fanatical about something, which is a negative thing.
Definitely not.
The thing is, though, the question was a video game or other media. So other media counts.
Yeah, so books. Books are awesome. I love books.
We need to get you and Bellander's wife on a podcast.
I spent most of my off time reading
Same. I do that too, usually.
Yeah.
It's good to wind down.
Absolutely.
For me, this is a difficult one because, like, as I said, I'm on every episode of this show, more or less. Like, I've only missed, like, I think one. So... Two? One, maybe two.
Maybe?
I need to go through
I
it again.
hosted one, and Kiri hosted one.
Yeah, I was on the one that
maybe?
Kiri
No,
hosted, though.
But you were on that one, so I guess one, yeah. You're the champion so far.
Yeah.
The reigning champion. Yeah.
So for me, on the podcast specifically, it's tough. I think, like, it's mean/weird to say that I'm a fan of this, but there's a lot of really kind of gnarly things that happen in the game industry that I would love to talk about more. Like, just human rights, workers' rights, unions, all the heavy politics and that kind of heavy hitting stuff. I love that stuff, and I love talking about that stuff, and I think it's really interesting. The frustrating thing is I'm not an educated person, so like I barely graduated high school. I was a C student, and I haven't done any post-secondary. Like, literally, I finished school, I worked for McDonald's for 8 years, and now I have this job. So I don't have the vocabulary to eloquently discuss certain topics. So there's some things that I just won't even bother posting, or I'll worry that they'll either be too harsh for the people that I'm co-hosting with, or alternatively, the people that I'm co-hosting with won't have any knowledge of the subject whatsoever. So it's one of these things where I don't feel confident to talk about some of that stuff, and I don't feel that there is really an easy way to field some of those topics on this podcast. On a lighter note, I want to talk about camping more often because I like camping.
Yeah, I like camping too.
And hopefully share pictures. Doesn't work well on the podcast, but I'd like to see the pictures.
I'm planning on bringing a GoPro, so like
Oh, that's cool.
there will be stuff of camping. I'll confuse the heck
Oh
out
my
of the
gosh, we
YouTube
should
channel.
go camping together.
Come up to Vancouver and call me. It's only a couple trains away. Amtrak goes all the way across the US.
I'm thinking about this now, like, ooh.
It's actually like way more doable than you might think.
I know, no, it's a pretty affordable. Never mind.
It's a pretty affordable
This
trip.
is not a camping podcast.
Do it.
Do it.
I was gonna say like as long as you have your gear and everything, it's a fairly affordable way of like getting out for a period of time because you don't have to pay for lodging. Usually, you just have to pay for the like your pad, you know, like your campsite.
There
And
are
it's
some
like
campsites
a couple dollars
here.
a day.
They're like because the type of camping I do is I go backpacking, right? There are some places here where you'll need to put a deposit down, and then you get your money back afterwards. But
Oh, that's cool. Like, so is that dispersed camping?
it's basically, well, I mean, it's just you walk into government property and set up a tent wherever. But it's basically like you burn the forest down, you're in trouble. You leave garbage everywhere and they find it and we report you with the general area that you were and they can prove it was you. You get fined or you don't get your money back. But usually you just get your money back. Be a decent human being.
That's cool.
But
We haven't had camping like that, but yeah, it's just a few dollars a day. So it's
yeah. I don't
pretty
go to
affordable.
campsites specifically. None of the places I'm planning on going to this summer are campsites either. Anyway, we should move on to the next question. Jess, do you want to take this question from Ascension?
If you could travel for free to any country for a week, which country would you visit?
North Korea.
Why?
Well, for free. And so I'm kind of going to elaborate this question that it's for free plus like there's no risk of me dying. North Korea.
I understand that, but even if you don't have to spend any money to pay for the holiday, you'll still spend money in the country, which means you support the regime, like the regime. Like,
I'm assuming the whole trip is free. I'm assuming I'm paying
all expenses
nothing.
paid, right?
Yeah, but then you still going there still means that they get money from you, and that's the shady stuff. I
Okay.
totally understand the curiosity, because it's like the one country that we know nothing like that, you know, where it's like there's like a big sense of mystery around it. But
It's not just a big sense of mystery. It's the fact that I'm a person with some sort of public face, and the fact that I could go there and be able to talk about that would be fascinating to me.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I just morally, I don't think I could go there. Even
I'd
if
feel better
somebody...
about going there than going to the States right now.
No, I don't think so. Morally speaking, I don't think I would feel comfortable about going there unless you're going as like like maybe as like investigative journalism. That's different.
That's why I'd want to go. But like, here's the thing though. The question is, where would you go? That's where I would go.
Yeah.
What's
FG,
the
where would
next
you
person
go?
answer?
I would go to the other side of the world from here because I've been to a lot of countries that I really, really wanted to, but I've never been to Australia and or New Zealand. Like I would probably want to hit up New Zealand, just because I've never been there. I've never been to the Southern Hemisphere. I've been to a lot of countries, but I've never been to the Southern Hemisphere, and New Zealand just seems amazing. Like just the countryside and like just yeah. I mean, I would totally do that, but it's mostly about the countryside because it's really pretty.
Go to actual Hobbiton.
Yeah, it's gonna be lots of tourists there, but like, yeah, like just
Yeah, but if you go there,
yeah,
it's
I would
something
probably
you have to
go,
do,
yeah.
right? Because you're also the tourist going there.
Yeah, I would go there as well, but like just rent a car and drive around and explore and just hit up like random beaches and like volcanoes and the forest. Like this looks really cool. Like the landscape shots that they do in like Lord of the Rings is just really like it's just a travel advert for New Zealand, really.
Nice.
Yeah, that's what I would do. Where would you go, Kiri?
Where there's snow, I can't really decide between Finland and Canada in winter, or like, well, maybe not in the deepest winter, but like when it's
So
cold.
you don't
want to
go to large
snow
parts
and
of Canada in the
lots
winter.
of ice. I don't know. Like I've always wanted to go to Finland because they've got like this ice hotel that's completely made out of ice, and that seems amazing. And I want to see the aurora. So Finland is nice, but then there's also Canada, and if it's all expenses paid, Canada is more expensive.
You could go to like Whitehorse in Canada, where because Whitehorse is a very it's a small city. It's only like 100,000 people, but it's like it's a small city that is very young and with a lot of artists living there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's basically just like the northern hipster town. That's very expensive to live. And also food is expensive there because it's northern. It's as far north, if not further north, than Finland. And there's nothing there and they can't produce any food because it's too cold.
Right.
So everything is imported.
So they have, okay, that makes sense.
So it's expensive to live there, but I've heard really good things about living in Whitehorse.
Well, I'll keep that in mind.
There you go.
It's a Canadian Tourism Minute.
This question is like super hard for me because I just want to go everywhere. There's actually a German word to describe this, sort of, kind of, and maybe you two can tell me how to say it. But like Fernweh,
Fernweh.
Fernweh.
It's funny. I was actually thinking about Wanderlust, which is also a word that works in English. Like you want to go and travel, I suppose. It's not really
travel
hiking, but...
sickness. It's like the opposite of homesickness, but travel sickness.
Yeah,
So
kind of.
Yeah.
Before you answer, Jess, I have a more wholesome response now that I've thought about it for a minute instead of just going with the knee-jerk first reaction.
Okay.
I would go to Monaco during the Monaco Grand Prix.
Ah, there you go.
That would do it.
That's a good one.
Assuming they still do it next year, because they might not. But
Yeah, that's a pricey one too. Like the tickets for a Grand Prix like that is going to be.
Oh yeah, I looked at how much it would cost to rent an Airbnb on the track. Just out of curiosity, it's like $4,000 a night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey, how many people could we cram in there? We could fit like 12 people in like a one-bedroom apartment.
Still expensive.
But
So Jess, except for you want to go everywhere, is there somewhere in particular you want to go to?
But it's so hard to pick because traveling is so expensive. Like if I could go anywhere for free, I'd have like, I don't know. This would be like a major
Brazil.
research project for me.
The Galapagos Islands. I don't know. Naming fun-sounding places. Moose Jaw, Canada. No, you don't. You don't.
Madagascar?
I
I don't know. I don't have an answer.
Yeah, okay, so this is completely
That's
unrelated,
okay.
but I saw a job offering relatively recently. And this is a job offering that pops up every 3 months. And every time I see it, I think about it for a minute. And then I go, no. And then I don't. But this job offering is the most remote post office in the world. It's in Antarctica. It's a shack in Antarctica. And it's owned by the British Royal Mail, right? It's not really a post office. It exists so that people in cruise ships can go there and mail postcards from Antarctica to other places in the world. That's why it exists. But originally it was like a trading post, right? And it's a, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's basically a museum. It's like a historic site. But there's two parts of the job. You have to mail letters for tourists in cruise ships, and you have to count penguins. And it's 3 months of work, and it's pretty good pay. And you're there with 4 coworkers. There's satellite phone, which is very expensive, and you're not allowed to use it. No internet, no cell phone reception. And you go there and you're. It's not actually that cold. It's about maybe -10 to -15 all the time. There's no running water, so you can only shower when there's cruise ships, and you use a giant outhouse. But my God, it would be a nice way to disconnect from the
Are
internet.
you saying that you want this job?
It sounds horrible, but also really cool in a way.
I mean, like, I've seen The Thing. I know how this ends, right? But, like, everybody dies and the thing explodes, right? But,
Yes.
there's elements to it where it's like, this is a horror film, but also, wouldn't it be lovely to just, like, because it's 4 hours of work approximately per day, but
Maybe
you work
for,
7
like,
days a week,
but then I'm done there.
and you're counting penguins. Just bring a stack like this of books and just, like, sit on a
Counting
lawn
penguins.
chair in, like, on a glacier and, like, hang out.
Yeah.
As somebody who has actually done that, something like that. It's not quite that, but I've done something similar. Is really nice, and you actually get used to it. So what I did was, okay, this was a long time ago. This was in 2011. So this was just before everybody switched over to having, smartphones with mobile internet. So I had a phone, but I didn't have mobile internet on it. Like that was still a time where people used like the little USB dongles for their laptops rather than their phones, because phones they became more popular afterwards. And I went to the UK on an archaeological dig, and there was camping on site. There was one person and I was camping, and we just camped there for 5 weeks. So it wasn't quite 3 months, but it was 5 weeks. 5 days of digging, 2 days of work. You were right next to the beach. There was a little corner shop within like 2 miles, so you could walk there and back.
That sounds
and
like a
grab
paid
food and whatnot.
vacation.
And it somewhat was, yeah. It wasn't paid. It was volunteer, but like
Sounds like a vacation.
it was good. It was really good. It was really chill. Like it was like right next to the. It wasn't like in a little holiday village, but like literally as soon as the holidaymakers go, because they don't stay in this village, there's like less than 100 people there. But we did have hot showers because we were right next to the camping thing. But they were paid, so we usually showered with just the free cold water and that sort of stuff. You get used to it.
Cold showers
get
are
used
fine,
to it.
as long as it's
It
not
was
super
warm.
cold outside as
like
well.
it was warm. It was during summer, so it was
Okay.
like 22, 23 degrees, so it wasn't like
Okay.
freezing or anything like that. It
It's
was
not like
really
you're in
nice.
Antarctica.
Yeah, exactly. It was not like Antarctica. It was really good. I read so many books, and just like some hiking, and then go down to the beach and go swimming, and it was really good. I don't know if I could do it
So-
nowadays, but it was really good.
I
Period.
have something to say about this too.
Go on. I was going to move us on to the next question, but make it quick.
I know, but now I want to contribute too.
Never.
So the last time, I'll try to be quick. The last time I went camping, I got into a conversation with one of the forest rangers on site, and he was describing his job. Basically, he was part of the U.S. Park Service, but what they will do is they'll put you somewhere, like at a location, for a few months at a time. And so, like, he and his wife and his dogs just would migrate from park to park. And so this one had, like, a little house, like a little cabin for them to live in. And that their job was just to go and like make sure the camping is going okay and no one's doing anything bad, and like maybe backpacking on the trails. And he said that it's just like a wonderful job, because just every quarter of a year you're going to a different state and experiencing something new. And I don't know, that seems like a pretty cool job.
Kiri, do you want to take this next question?
Yes, but it sounds like a cool job.
I agree, yes.
Yeah, same.
So Cody Hunden is asking, if streamer birthday is every day, how old is streamer then?
I have an
FG,
answer.
I think that is your question. Okay, Blind.
10,227.
Is that a random number?
That's
or
for
did
me.
you
That's
actually
how
math it?
old I am today.
Nice.
Nice. That's good. Yeah, according to chat, I've been around as long as time has existed, roughly. Because literally every day is apparently my birthday. So, how old is the universe now? So, there you go. Billions of years, apparently, yeah.
FG is billions.
Yes. Correct.
New
My
game.
origin story is the opposite. My origin story is I came into existence a few years ago, which is why I don't know any popular culture.
That's a good reason, yeah.
Appeared.
Yep.
Yeah,
I just spawned into
suddenly
existence.
conscious.
Yeah.
So one could say a what just appeared.
Whoa. Yeah.
Nice.
So sticking to the birthday subject, Dap Dude says, or asks, what kind of birthday cake are you having and where's my piece?
I'm gonna bake a strawberry cake tomorrow.
I'm having pizza, which is sometimes called pie in the US. So
With a candle?
pizza pie, I guess.
How do you,
And where's your
how do you
piece?
candle pizza?
Oh, that works. I've done that
Yeah,
for
you
a
can.
birthday.
Actually,
yeah.
no, punch holes in the box and put them in the box. There you go.
Or just in the crust, that works too. But yeah,
True.
and your
I did it
piece,
through the box when I did it.
nice. And your piece dab is right here. You just have to come and get it.
Well, my birthday was a few days ago and we had a vanilla lemon cake. And send me your fax number, Dap, and I'll fax you a slice. There's one slice left in my fridge.
So
Now
generous.
I want cake. Now I want cake.
I think I would have almond cake.
That doesn't
love-
sound good.
I love almond baked goods. They're just so good.
You'd have to convince me.
Out of all the three choices that people mentioned, I would probably go with Kiri's strawberry cake.
Of course, we're the same person.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
FG, do you want to take this next one from
Yeah, I was
JSOG?
just gonna say that does actually lead into JSOG's or Jasog's question, which is how many people are actually on this episode? Because doubles only count once. So there's only two, because we've clarified that Jess is FG, FG is Kiri, and Kiri is FG and Jess. So yeah, there's two.
Well, if I have multiple personalities, do multiple personalities count as multiple?
Yes.
Actually, yeah.
Well,
So
then
we are
two
more than.
for me. So 4?
That's good.
Oof, I'm just reading ahead to the next question. This one is actually thoughtful. Not a troll question.
Would you like to
Go
read
ahead.
this question from Nalo then? Jess?
Yeah, this one is from Nalovint. So he asks, you all between you and individually have a wealth of streaming experience. I'd be interested to know one piece of advice that you'd each tell someone who was just starting out streaming.
Archive everything
Yeah.
so that you can
Yeah.
look back and see how bad you were a year ago and go, damn, I've improved. Otherwise, you have like no marker to tell how much you've improved.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
My advice kind of ties into that. After a stream, not after every stream, but every once in a while, go back to your streams, recent ones, watch them, and then improve. Because if you like your content, you're doing it right. If you don't like it, if you I could do this better, and that seems a bit odd, and then you can change and make it better.
I always tell people if you listen to your VODs and you go, I can't stand my voice, fix it so
Yeah.
you can.
Yep.
And if
Yep.
you like hearing your voice, your audio sounds better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think I would honestly have to agree. Like, I can think of a lot of things that I would say to someone just starting out, but yeah, before Kira even said it, my advice would be watch your content, because you can identify so many issues in so many ways that you can see how you personally could improve as quickly as tomorrow, just from watching your content.
Yeah. And if you don't like your
yeah.
content, then why should somebody else like it? So make sure
Exactly.
you like it.
Yep. So I would definitely agree. That's definitely like the most general advice. As somebody without a cam and with a more specialized device, you don't need a cam. But if you want to go camless, talk. Because if there's silence, people don't know you're there. They don't know you. Like, there is no connection. So talk. That also goes if you have a camera. But with a camera, you can do funny faces or like expressions. You can wave your arms around or something, like, or you can like get up out of your chair and walk away as a funny skit moment. You don't have that when you don't have a cam. So the only way people know and can connect with you is your voice. So talk. Never shut up.
A streamer I know once did a "my baby is sleeping" stream, and so he muted his microphone and he made his cam a little bigger than normal and just emoted really heavily the entire time. So he's just like, but that plays real badly on an audio format. But he just made funny faces for like 7 hours, and it was very amusing.
I like that.
That is good, yeah.
But yeah, I think it's just like the best person to improve your own content is you. And I think that there's a lot of people who just kind of fall into the, I don't like listening to myself, or I can't listen to myself, or I don't want to watch myself. You're in the wrong industry. Like, I can hear my own voice in my ears right now because of my microphone monitoring, right?
Same.
And you need to do that. Like, you need to get used to watching yourself, hearing yourself, and listening to yourself, because that's how you tweak and improve and work on and make your content better.
I mean, in a similar vein to what you said, like archiving your content gives you a good opportunity to watch your VODs back, because I mean, if you're editing them, or at least reducing them, like, you have opportunities to even just view like a few moments of your content and like just go back and check markers, and it's two birds at once.
Totally.
Yep.
So Pink Fluffy Llama is asking, or Leonidas says it's a question. I think it would be nice to hear how you all first heard about streaming, and then why you wanted to get into it and do it yourselves. I can go first. I wanted to find something, a hobby. I was about to finish my master's, and I was looking for a hobby to just do and chill. Haha. And Mystery suggested Twitch, and I had no clue what that was, which is hilarious. So I looked at Twitch, and I realized streaming seems pretty cool. So I did some research, and then I started streaming.
Mine actually starts on YouTube, like over 10 years ago by now, and I was just watching around and stumbled upon some gaming stuff, and I found this channel called Day 9 TV, and I just realized, I watched this content and I was like, wait, this is done live. Why can't you do this live? And then I went on Twitch and made my account.
Was it Twitch then, or Justin still?
That was Twitch. That was 2012, so it was already Twitch. My account has never been a Justin account, but my Twitch account is going to be 10 years old this year.
Amazing.
Same. Actually, is mine 10 years old? Hold on, let me check. Jess.
Was yours a Twitch account or a Justin? Blind.
I made an account on Justin, but I made a new account on Twitch because I didn't like my username. This was before you could change them.
Oh, I wonder what the username
March 1st,
was.
2012. Yeah, my account's 10 years old.
Dang, yeah.
Happy
I still
birthday.
gotta wait. I gotta wait till December for that.
So, Jess, do you have an answer?
Yeah. How I first heard about streaming. So I think it was 2017, and Salentre had like someone IRL that he knew that started streaming, and then also like was doing collaborations with someone who's really big on YouTube. and was like, wow, this is like somebody that like I went to school with, and look what they're doing. They're like doing these collaborations and they're live streaming. And I looked at the live stream and was like, this is really cool. I'd never seen this before. Somehow in 2017 had never seen this before. And so
Yeah. I can relate to that.
I mean, I just spawned into existence a few years ago, so
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, this checks out.
To be fair, Twitch like quadrupled it. The TwitchCon 2016 had like 16,000 people that showed up. TwitchCon 2019 had like 250,000 people. The site's grown a little bit in the last 6 years.
Yeah.
So it's like if you found the
Yeah,
site
of
around
course.
2017, that was like peak growth, like graph going up. So, like,
Yeah, so I hadn't been on Twitch prior to that, but I made an account and just started streaming, and off and on. My content was very bad at the beginning.
Same. I think we
All of
all
ours was,
agree.
probably.
Yeah.
So I'm like FG, except I think I'm even further back than FG. So I always wanted to get into radio when I was younger because I've always kind of just had like this thought in the back of my brain that either I'm incapable of learning properly, which is probably because I have a sick, broken brain, or because like I don't know. Anyway, normal jobs never really looked like something that like as soon as I like became a sentient human being and stopped being a little child, it was just like I want to fly airplanes and be an astronaut and a rock star. Once I got kind of past that era, I was like, I want to go into radio because it's like that was something that's like one skill that I always knew that I was pretty good at was talking. I could like take over a conversation and make it impossible for anybody else to speak, which is what you need to do to be in radio. And I was also quite good at interviewing people. It was something that I actually did in Scouts. I got a bunch of like credits and stuff for interviewing people and doing interviews. And so I wanted to get into radio. Well, the radio industry, in case you haven't noticed, is on the decline. So YouTube became a thing in like 2006, 2007. And I remember watching early YouTube videos and trying to make YouTube videos very poorly. There's actually some videos on YouTube that I made in like 2007 on accounts that I no longer have access to, which is kind of weird. And I look at those every now and again. I go, I'm never going to tell anybody about these. But they exist. And like I made some tutorials for software and stuff back then. And some of them have like 100,000 views, which is weird. But yeah, no, like there's stuff that I did back in the day and I always wanted to do that. And then I remember it was, I could probably figure out exactly what day this was because it was launch day for Borderlands 1. Nanners, who was a YouTuber who I was subscribed to at the time, put up a notification that he was streaming on Ustream, and I knew that streaming services existed, but I didn't realize you could stream games on them up until this point. He was streaming Borderlands 1 cooperatively with, let's see if I can remember this correctly, Gassy Mexican, can't remember who else they were playing with, Nanners, and it might have been Strippin'. It was like somebody else who was like an ex-Yogscast person. And then there was one other person who I don't think makes content anymore. I can't remember who the fourth was. But it's like people who are still in this industry now. And it's like, I remember seeing that and going, man, that's cool. I was watching the stream at like 160p or something because that's what my internet could load. And going, I want to do that. And it's been kind of somewhere in my brain ever since. And then when I was working night shift, like right before I moved out, a friend of mine was like, you need to do that once you move out. And I was like, yeah. And then I started it when I moved out properly. I like fiddled with it before that point. I streamed for like 6 months before I moved out, but my internet was terrible. So it was like 120, like 160p is what I could stream at. So it didn't last very long. But I streamed on and off for about a year. And then a friend of mine was just like, you should do this and I'll do it with you. We'll do a 30-day stream challenge. And I'm still on that stream challenge. Although I don't stream daily anymore. That was the original thing. But like I did a year daily. I did a second year daily, and then I went to like 6 days a week, and I basically just been still going. So, yeah. It's a curse, but I love it. Next question here is from Just Some Old Guy, or JSOG, and he says, is there any intention to bring Halcyon After Hours back on a more frequent basis? I mean, more frequent basis, it's like on hiatus, so we haven't done it in a while.
More infrequent. It says infrequent.
Oh, okay.
Important.
Or on a more infrequent basis.
Yeah.
I can't read.
Well, there's that time issue of getting
Yeah.
getting people together.
Yeah,
So
that's the main thing, I think,
It's
is
been
scheduling.
increasingly more difficult over time.
yeah.
Also, now with
Yeah,
people
that's the
being
problem.
allowed to go
So
outside, it's gotten harder.
I have an idea how it could happen. So if you
Maybe
can
don't
find...
promise anything here.
No. You see where I'm going when I tell, like, so basically, if you can find yourself a developer or a publisher that has like a multiplayer game that's coming out that they want to sponsor some people to play together, then then we can probably somehow make it happen, because then it's a little bit easier to force yourself to like get up really early in the middle of the night, or like cut your own stream a bit short and that sort of stuff. It's really difficult because a lot of the team members do this as their job. So doing Halcyon After Hours, even if it's fun, because it's so very different from our normal content,
It never
always
really
made it-
performed that well statistically.
yeah, it never really it did that well. Some people really liked it, but for the general quiet masses, it wasn't the content that they follow our channels for. So, yeah, and we're not in and unfortunately we're not in a boat where we can just be like, whatever, we'll financially be fine and okay and
We're
whatever.
not big enough that we can just throw
Anyways.
2,000 viewers each at it. Like,
Exactly.
the difference
yeah,
between
yeah.
us getting our normal numbers and getting half that is like
is significant.
whether or not you get the sponsorships to pay your bills next month.
Yep.
At times.
Exactly. So we wish we could, but it's unlikely.
Maybe let us all get really big and famous, and then we'll think about it.
Yeah, or that. Yeah, that works out. Yep.
So Belliner's got one FG.
Yeah, next question. Actually asked by Bellina, who unfortunately couldn't be here today, but Bellina asks, do you have any plans to do other content creation outside of gaming? I'll take the answer. And I've talked about this actually on my Patreon secret newsletter before. I have plans on doing some language stuff on YouTube. I have a separate YouTube channel for that. There's no content there. You won't need to search for it. It's called The Language Author, but there's nothing there that doesn't even have a header yet or anything like that. It's not going to be super frequent content. It's probably going to be, obviously IRL stuff, scripted, longer videos.
You should do that on TikTok. It's 2-minute videos on how to pronounce things. Go.
That, yeah, that's
Probably
not really
do
the
well.
kind of content that probably, but I don't know. It doesn't sound attractive.
Oh, no.
It's
Everything for TikTok sounds awful, but that would do really
yeah,
well.
that's true. It's gonna be.
Look, you already gave me a language lesson today. See, that's TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTokable.
That's true. It is.
TikTokable. Please don't ever say that again.
But yeah, I haven't started on the project yet. I've done preliminary work, like video topics and that sort of stuff, because this is gonna be more scripted, more edited, more very different content than what I normally do. Anybody else?
That sounds really interesting.
I want to take a camera camping. That's all.
Do you want to do like the people who do the whole, oh god, I forgot the word, where they
Vlog?
just no where they're vlogging their stuff, but they're not actually vlogging it, because they're like it's silent vlog. It's just atmospheric wide angle shots of them just setting
sure.
up campsites and doing that sort of stuff, and like not necessarily like camping in a tent, but more like just kind of doing survivally stuff outdoors.
Yeah. Well, I
Like that.
I would love to live stream a camping trip. But actually, I'd be concerned about my friend saying something problematic and getting me banned, because he has a tendency to do that. He's just one of those people. He's my best friend. Not much I can really do about it. But like, aside from that, like, yeah, I don't know. I don't like making content outside. Oh, actually, I would love to make synthesizer stuff, but because they give you free synthesizers, but I don't have enough synthesizers to start. So. I don't know.
Nice.
Not really. That's my actual answer to that.
I mean, like the camping. That sounds fun.
Potentially. It also makes camping work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the second you make something
might be
into
a problem.
content, it becomes work. And
Yes.
then it stops being a fun hobby. So some things need to stay a fun hobby.
Yeah,
I
that
agree.
too.
I started recently with doing other things. Like, I don't remember when it was. I think earlier this year, I built a Lego set on stream, and then I built and painted the Warhammer miniature that was sent by Frontier. That was really fun. And I've actually already told my viewers that on Sunday I'm gonna build another Lego set because now I'm done with the co-op stream. Blind is just holding up a Lego set. Oh, I'm actually not sure if it's Lego or just brick building, but it was Lego. Okay, very nice. My co-op with Bloody Drongo is done, which we've done the last months on Sunday. And now I have time again to do something else, something chill. And Sunday's always like a bit different stream, so I'm gonna build Lego again.
Nice. What are you building on Sunday?
I have two architecture sets. One is the skyline of Paris, and the other one is the Empire State Building. I haven't decided yet.
Cool.
One of the two.
I have a lot of ideas for other content, but the problem that I encounter is Blind is holding another Lego setup. Train, choo-choo. Anyway, so I have a lot of ideas. The problems I encounter are not having enough time, and then also not having the capacity to plan and create content outside of the plans and content that I already create for a living. So I don't know how to like make space in my life for more stuff, but like I would love to do crafting content. I used to cosplay and I'd like to get into that again. I just like to craft things, and like I also imagine that like doing DIY content would be really fun.
You seem like the sort of person who
then-
would love doing leather work.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
But
I love that stuff. I love being able to work with my hands. And so like I would really like to make content on it, but then it's just like, I don't know. When? How?
Jess, when you're finished with your response to that one, could you ask this next question from Roger?
I was actually going to ask if anybody knows this.
I do.
I don't.
I have no idea what this is.
Just read the question.
Okay. This question is from Reger. It's actually 4 questions, but the first one is, what is your name? What is your quest? What is your favorite color? And have you seen the movie this set of questions is from?
So, if anybody here has seen the movie, don't say what movie it's from. Just say yes or no.
No.
Greg is my name. Quest, to not die. My favorite color, black. Yes, I've seen the movie. The rest of you have homework to do. Roger can yell at you. I've done this before and it ended badly for me.
All right. Sure.
Mysterious.
Well, the last
Very
time I
mysterious.
scolded everybody on not seeing a movie, I was informed that I'm the only person who likes good movies. So sad.
The thing is,
So what do we have to watch then?
No, I can't tell you.
The
Okay.
thing is, no. I have the thing is it an older movie, say pre-1995?
I'm looking what year it came out.
Is this like
'Cause,
Fight Club?
yes.
The
Yeah, it's
the-
1975
Maybe.
actually.
which I also haven't
Then
seen.
I
but,
probably
like,
have
the
never
first
seen it in
rule-
English, so I probably don't actually.
It's an English movie.
Yeah, but if it's that old, I probably have never seen. Like, it's unlikely that I've seen it in English.
Do you
and
want
I've
me to
seen it
say
in
what
German.
movie it's from?
Same.
Yes.
Yes.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
I've seen
Oh,
that.
I have seen that.
Yeah. Same.
But I
What
was
is your name?
I was
What is your
very,
quest?
very
What is your favorite
little.
color?
That is not that's not the thing that people go for. People go for We Are the Knights to Say Ni and Camelot. It's a silly place. Let's not go there. Those are the iconic quotes. That's not an iconic quote.
Yes, it is.
No, clearly it's not, because we all seen the movie and we don't remember it.
I mean, I was a child.
I haven't seen
I
that
don't
movie
remember
since
it.
I was like 10.
Oh.
No, I mean I've seen it, or like what's it called? Black Knight, like that scene, like
I'll bite
that
your
sort of
legs
stuff.
off.
Exactly.
It's just a mere flesh
yeah,
wound.
I'm not dead yet.
Yeah.
You know, that sort of stuff, but not that.
It's
yeah,
the
okay.
bridge.
No.
It's the guy on the bridge. He goes, "What is your name? What is your quest? What is your favorite color?" And that's how they get across the bridge. And one of them gets launched into the pit because he goes blue, no, and then boom, he flies off the edge.
No, I don't even remember that. Like, that's the one scene I don't remember. I remember like the French guy on the castle and all that sort of stuff.
I shall fart in your general direction. Yes.
Yes, yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Just not that. Yeah.
And he throws a cow at him.
All right, last question.
Read it, Kiri.
Hughes.
Go.
Hughes is asking, what has been your favorite game to stream so far this year? Who wants to go first?
Citizen Sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
Expeditions Rome.
Crusader Kings 3.
I thought you were gonna say.
So for me, that's Weird West.
Oh.
And that brings us to the end of this episode of the Halcyon Frequency Podcast. It's been a long one, so I'm just going to jump us straight into the end here. If you want to get more episodes of this show, go to halcyonfrequency.com. If you want to ask us questions and help out with this segment in the future, go to the Halcyon Frequency Discord, where you can plop questions in the questions room. If you want to talk about episodes, you can do that in the podcast topics episode. If you go to the website, there's links to the team page where you can find all of us and all of us individually. Let's take it around the table right now and go, Kiri, tell people who you are and where they can find your stuff.
I am Chidi Kiri Okiri, and you can find me on the internet, mainly Twitch, but also YouTube and Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Patreon. I stream strategy games, indie games, and stop by.
Okay, I am Wojess, or Jess. You can also find me on the internet, mostly Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Patreon. And I also stream a lot of strategy simulation management. Full stop, FG.
Yeah, I'm FG. Hi, FGsquared everywhere. YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, except on Twitter. On Twitter, there's a sneaky underscore between the FG and the squared. And I stream a wide variety of games, mostly indie, but sometimes also some AAA stuff sneaks in. And that's what I do. What do you do, Blind? Where can we find you?
Twitch.tv/BLINDIRL, YouTube, same name, Twitter, same name. I actually tweet now, so you can find me. And it's worth following me on Twitter. So something that we kind of need to announce here, though, before we vanish. There's a little sneaky thing at the end. Kind of didn't tease this anywhere. I think I'll tease it in one of the ad spots somewhere just so people know that there's something coming. But we have an announcement. Anybody want to take this, or should I?
I can go.
Okay.
Well, you actually know what? No, that's a good point. Blind should
Blind
go.
should do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it was your idea. It's
We're
your
hosting a
fault.
game jam August 29th or July 29th to August 1st. It's called the Halcyon Frequency Game Jam. The theme is good morning. It needs to be simulation sickness friendly. If you make games, keep an eye on the Halcyon Frequency Discord. We'll have more information soon, TM. There will probably be some assets dropped and images dropped over the next little bit. Proper full social media blitz announcement will happen towards the end of June, early August, I would think. I still need to set up the HIO pages and whatnot. I have like most of the stuff written out for it, but yeah, we're gonna be hosting a game jam. It's something I've kind of talked about a little bit on my stream, but it hasn't been like yelled about publicly yet. So here's the go ahead. Yell about it publicly. July 29th to August 1st. The first annual or biannual, we haven't decided yet. Halcyon Frequency Game Jam. Prize is going to be we'll play your game on our stream.
Woo!
Yay.
Yay.
Clapping. I don't know. And the crowd goes wild. Yeah. Anyway, So yeah, that's it, pretty much, I think. As per usual, podcasts go up every Sunday. If you listen to podcasts on a podcast platform and you can't find this one, tell me where you'd like me to put it, and I will make it show up there. Aside from that, leave us a review on iTunes, because that very much helps. Leave us a review if you have the ability to leave us a review, and if you don't have the ability to leave us a review, just retweet, share, tell somebody about the pod, all that jazz. It's hard to promote podcasts, okay? And thank you very much for listening to this week's episode, and we'll be back next week. So now's where we all say goodbye, somewhat synced, and then...
Bye.
Bye.